And, the conditions will be quite slippery, even though it looks okay at the moment. I think it'll be quite slippery out there. And Lockie's just emerging as a player this year. There's been a few of them this year for us that are starting to grow. And typically that's what happens with young players, 2 or 3 seasons in. They start to feel comfortable, and Locke's certainly doing that. And look, we're as excited about anything. We're as excited about watching Sam and see how he goes. It's been such a long time to get another opportunity, and we know the quality of Wits. He's going to be a real monster for him to handle.
You touched on the conditions. That was my next question, actually. How does it change things for you guys? You play a tough, uncompromising brand of footy. Your pressure is through the roof, one of the best sides in the competition as well. If there's a bit of rain, how does it change things for you? Yeah, not too much. I suppose it does play into the game that we like to play, but I think equally as much the Gold Coast like to play the contested brand of football too. So it'll be an interesting little challenge. It'll become a metre surge game, and that's if it gets really, really wet. But hopefully it stays like this and the boys get an opportunity to use the ball when they get a chance.
Ken and Sean, just talk us through where does last week's win rank on your scale? We know that you coached Robbie Gray a few years ago when he kicked the goal after the siren to win, but Housto's goal after the siren last week, where does that rank on your win scale?
Yeah, it's interesting, Sean. As you know, through the week, we celebrate those opportunities and we get to relive them. But, they're always really special, and you hate to try and separate them because every one of them, when you have those moments and you win those after the siren moments, they all feel somewhat really, really special, so you don't separate them. But when you look back, Rob's and Dan's, those 2 kicks, they're both just amazing kicks for a start, and to get the ability to kick them that way was pretty special.
Just talk us through Charlie Ballard. He's obviously leading the AFL intercept marks and up there with intercept possessions as well. Do you have a player on him, or do you put more emphasis on the pressure on the ball?
Yeah, pressure.
Or better entry, inside 50.
Yeah, no, for us, it's get the ball to ground as much as we can. He's been an outstanding intercept defender in the competition. He's right here in front of me now. He's not the most physical person to look at, but he does get his job done really well. So what we've done really well as a group this year in our front half is we've been able to bring the ball to ground as often as I think any team in the comp, and I think that's where we'll try and start with tonight.
Ken, good luck tonight. Watching another star for the Suns in Will Power over the last few months, and he always plays on from a kick-in. When you assess that in your week leading up to the game, do you sort of change your structure knowing that that's the play he'll always go to?
Yeah, there's no one in the comp, I don't think, that doesn't play on from a kick in now because they get a touch, they get a stat, and they get to use it. But it makes sense to use the yardage that you get. And he's another one of their... they're a really talented team with a lot of talent out there. And Will's a player that I've admired from a distance for a long time. And he had a bad injury, but he seems to be back and in his best form at the moment. But, they're a run and gun side when they get their game going. We just got to be on the ball, whether that's from a kick in or any time.
Ken, Charlie Dixon's 200, of course, fantastic. You've been along for much of the ride, and I think he spoke glowingly of you during the week, and he said he needed a really hard coach, which is why he chose coming to Port. Have you had to crack the whip on him? And tell us a bit about the evolution of him over that time from the skinny kid from Cairns that you've seen.
Yeah, crack the whip, so to speak. I've run out of whips. But no, he's as he said through the week, and everyone's talked around him, he's the big teddy bear lots of times, but he gets emotional, and then when he gets emotional, sometimes he misplaces some of his aggression and some of the things that he does. So what I've loved about the journey with him is I've just seen the person grow, and that's always what makes you proud of him. And Charlie's grown more than anyone, I think, over that journey for the young, 17, 18-year-old up on the Gold Coast where we first hooked up to the player of the years now and the man of the years now, more importantly. And we just spoke about him in the rooms, a few of the boys, and asked a few of the more senior boys, and they just love his passion, and everyone does, and I think he brings the crowd to life. He's a player that means a lot to us.
Yeah, I'd love to get some vision of the box he's got with his old ex-teammates today, but who would you like him to live with from a young person point of view coming up that he could mentor, Ken, that he could have an influence on now that he has matured?
No one.
No.
Ken, we love it. Mate, thanks for joining us on Triple M Footy. You're terrific with your time with us here, and good luck tonight. 13 in a row you're looking for.
Good on you. Thanks, fellas.
There he is, senior coach Kenny Hingley. We've got the opening bounce up next, bit over 10 minutes away for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M rocks footy.
Triple M Footy prime time for Jim Beam. It's set to be an epic match, and that's worth raising a Jim Beam. Drink responsibly.
For Ream Hot Water and McDonald's.
Triple M rocks footy.
You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly.
Shut up! The foot is on the radio!
Triple M rocks footy.
This quarter for Repco, driven by passion for 100 years.
Saturday night footy, Adelaide Oval, and it is milestone time for Port Adelaide. Charlie Dixon running through the banner along with Jeremy Finlayson, 200 games and 100 games respectively for that pair. It's Port Adelaide taking on the Gold Coast Suns. We've got a big team in the house for you for this Saturday night. Four-time premiership star Sean Burgoyne, ruckman at the Adelaide Footy Club for 10 years, Red Biglands, and Channel 7's Mark Soderstrom covering this game tonight. Theo Doropoulos on the boundary for Bob Jane T-Marts. It's the Gold Coast Suns, it is Port Adelaide, and it's a big game. We might just check the other scores from around the grounds for RAA, and of course earlier today it was a smacking. Brisbane by 81 points over the West Coast Eagles, and earlier on the Giants able to sneak home by 13 points over the Hawks. Last night the Pies by 12 and Richmond over the Swans by 13 points on Thursday night.
And of course the T-Birds, Yatesy, in the grand final, 24-18 it is in the second quarter, taking on the Swifts. So a good game underway there.
Terrific stuff. Sean Burgoyne, Red Biglands, take us through this game. Port Adelaide looking for 13 in a row. And, there's been some pressure on the Gold Coast Suns land this week.
Well, I think we're all expecting Port Adelaide to win, coming into this game. But the whole week's been dominated by the controversy or the build-up to, Stuart Dew and the Suns. That atmosphere, what that does for the Suns players, whether they can come out and play for their coach.
I think, Silk, that game last week when they played Collingwood, watching that again during the week, They didn't kick a goal till sort of late in that second quarter, and they looked like they were miles away from Collingwood. So there is a huge difference between the top and the teams that are trying to get into the final.
There's such a big build-up, wasn't it? First sold-out game against Collingwood to show, your fans that you finally arrived, and it was a letdown. 78 points in front of your home crowd was a big letdown.
No doubt about it. Stewie Jew in his sixth season, 2020 he was 14th, 2021 16th, and 2022 is 12th after 10 wins. That is a huge letdown, but the more important point to that was the way in which they were dismantled. The transition game which Collingwood put up against them, they looked helpless. Now, that could have possibly been Collingwood at their best. Some of the footy they played was just electric, but they didn't have an answer. That was the real storyline for me, and I think when there is a quiet week in AFL circles, the media goes for Stewie Jew after a big loss.
Yep.
It's an easy target. It's an easy picking. I still think they're on the right path with him, even if he is contracted for next year.
But what we have seen is how a club can galvanise when there's things like this that happen. We only have to go back to round 3 with Ken Hinkley and the Port Adelaide Footy Club, who've now gone on a tear of 12 in a row, and they look just about unbeatable at the moment. But going for 13 tonight is quite an extraordinary feat, what they've been able to do, Silk. And one of the real extraordinary aspects about them is their resilience, Port Adelaide, this year. Like, they haven't always been in front in those games. Like even just go back to last week. They had a nice little gap. They gave it away, yet they're able to still come and win again. They are doing something well in tight matches. And can you tell me what it is? Because their record in the close ones is so good this year that it's got to be something that they're doing well.
Well, I think it's just coming together. The belief has grown week on, week out. The game against the Swans where they should have lost, and Leah saves the game on the goal line, and it just builds from there, and you get trust in your teammates. They've had a pretty consistent lineup. They've had a few injuries here and there, but the core group of players have been there week in, week out.
On game day for a grand final, you get a sense of a storyline being written. We heard Ken Hinkley this week say that he gets the feeling this season is a story that's being written because of these close games, because of things which have happened to individuals within their club.
Yep.
And you get the sense that there is something special at the end of it, don't you?
It's the Triple M Footy prime time for Jim Beam. It's set to be an epic match, and that's worth raising a Jim Beam. Drink responsibly. It's the Suns and Port Adelaide.
Silk, Jeremy Finlayson comes up for game number 100, and look, his transformation this year, he was good last year, but this year he's gone to another level, and we all know that there's so much going on in his life with his wife, Kelly, but his performance has just been remarkable. I think he kicked 44 in 2019. He's on target to beat that.
Yeah, he is, and now he's playing a different role to back then. He's the second ruck option. He's going in and he's looking forward to that, So, he's been thrown in there because Lycett's been out at times and Dixon's been out, so he's had to go in there more time. So that has added a different dimension inside the centre square, which he looks forward to. And he's been kicking goals. And you mentioned his off-field stuff. He's been able to leave that when he comes to the game and focus on the game, and then reset himself when he goes home. But yeah, he's been a real positive this year.
I don't think people give him enough credit about how good he was going at GWS as well. He was a very good player there with his mobility and his goal kicking, super long range, and his flexibility to play multiple positions. I was so surprised when Port basically got him for nothing. It was a wonderful bit of recruiting for their footy club.
Ream Hot Water built tough Aussie conditions when it comes to water heating. Ask your plumber to install a Ream. The Suns get Took Miller back tonight. That's really important for them, isn't it? He's such a good player.
It is. He's been out for a number of weeks with his knee, but you've also got Anderson and Rao. You've got Ballard. You've got Swallow back in as well. So on paper, and Witts, the ruckman, so on paper, they've got a really mature team and a team now that can actually take the next step. We're just waiting for it to happen.
Biggles, you as a big man, Sam Hayes coming back in. We haven't seen him since, I think, round 11 last year. Vicentini came in late, obviously, last week with Lycett. Were you surprised to see Hayes get another go?
The question, I think, that when you ask around, we've seen the development side. You've seen him over many years at SANFL level, about why is he getting more of a look at AFL level. And it's always been about his work rate and his engine. So we're hoping that has been developed, and that's the big difference for going between SANFL and AFL levels, to have that big engine to come up against, and none better than Witts. Witts is an absolute star, works so hard. So we're going to find out tonight whether he has improved in that department.
Let's head to the boundary for Bob Jane T-Marts. This end of financial year, Bob Jane T-Marts have great buy 3, get 1 free, plus instant cashback deals. Call or order online today. T's and C's apply. Theo Doropoulos on the boundary.
Yeah, the conditions not too bad at the moment. The skies are pretty clear. Hopefully the rain holds off. None really forecast for the evening, but There is a strong layer of dew, pardon the pun, across the ground. It will be slippery for the first term indeed, and that does advantage Port Adelaide, you think, if they can get it in the forward half. They're one of the best sides in the competition in locking it inside forward 50 and the ball not coming out at all. Taking a look at the benches, Junior Rioli starting on the pine, back after a couple of weeks out, one with illness and one with personal leave. Jason Horne-Francis, Dylan Williams and Willem Drew. Quinton Narkle, who's been brilliant, will start as the sub. Rory Atkins, Sam Flanders, Brandon Ellis and Hugh O'Day for the Suns. Jai Farah is the sub, of course. Took Millie mentioned his first game since round 6. Massive in for the Suns.
Good stuff, Theo, for Bob Jane. Now, Silk, what a key matchup is there. I know that it's not done and won with just one particular one, but I want a key matchup tonight for fielders. If you can imagine it, you can do it with fielders. What do we need to look out for tonight?
Well, I think the number one matchup for me would be the two rucks, Hayes and Witts. Hayes' first game in, Witts is a giant of a man. Him and Matt Rowell, they're the second best combination in the league. So then you also throw in, Swallows who's in there, and Anderson, those guys, and Took Miller. So that's going to be a huge matchup where they can nullify his influence around, not only around the ground, but in the ruck. So just can't get it out to their runners.
Biggles, when you look at that Port Adelaide lineup, big Charlie Dixon has been a Leviathan. We spoke to Kenny about him earlier. Geez, he's going to be pumped for tonight, isn't he?
I think he performs better when there is a bit of hype and build up to a game. Now, he's got a corporate box with his past players from the Gold Coast here. Good group of lads who are in there, and I'm hoping they've got the M's on, but they'll be enjoying himself in that box. And he would want to put on a show for them tonight. So I am predicting that Big Chuck is going to have a big night, and I think there might be 4 or 5 on the end of it. He would love to fire up in a milestone game.
So we're about to have the toss here. Who wins and by how much? Sean Burgoyne, Red Biglands.
Well, I think Port will win, 4 or 5 goals here at home, but I'm really interested to see how Gold Coast attack this first quarter.
Yeah, no doubt. I think Port are going to just move through the gears here tonight, and there will be a response from the Gold Coast, particularly early in the game, but between 30 and 40-point margin to the power tonight.
So toss has been won by Port Adelaide. Ollie Wines, they'll kick to the right of your radio dial, the city end here at the Adelaide Oval. Always a big build-up here for the Port Adelaide games. Never tear us apart, about to belt out around this great stadium. For McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, Triple M Rocks Footy. Here's Channel 7's Mark Soderstrom.
Jared Witts going head-to-head with big Sammy Hayes for the first time since round 11, 2022. Game number 8 for Sam, and just about Witts gets it down to Wines. Got some support. Rosie, who was terrific last week against the Bombers, with the first clearance for Port Adelaide into the attacking 50. Big punch came from Ballard. Goes to Rosie. He's going to get another chance. Got some support from Houston, the star from last week, and Farrell on that beautiful left foot this time, though, is a little bit of a scrubber going forward. And then Rowell coming out of defence gives it to Weller, and the Suns relieve a bit of pressure.
So they work it from back to forward, but chipping in very nicely. McKenzie measures a ball beautifully. Rosie getting himself another Red Z lending stat so early. He's coming up for number 3 on the Triple M Red Z lending stats. Red Z Lending Loans for the self-employed. REDZED.com. Deep 50 ball here for Port Adelaide. Here's Pal Pepper lurking around. Pal right there with him for the Suns. Boundary line beats the pair. And right forward pocket. City End will have it tossed in.
Midfield battle today is so important to how both teams line up. We know how good Anderson is. Puts himself at the bottom of every stoppage. He gets first use more often than not than any other player in the comp.
Triple M C-Bus Super Specials from Red Biglands. The big 200 gamer, Charlie Dixon, doing the ruck work in the forward line against Witts. Comes down to Finlayson. The 100 gamer gets around onto his right for a chance for the first goal for Port Adelaide. And he gets it. They combine, Dixon and Finlayson. And they go nuts, the Port Adelaide boys. Straight over to support him. Port Adelaide with the first goal on the Triple M Repco scoreboard.
On his number third, on the right foot too. Now, Powell Pepper taps in the ball. He gets it back. Those two guys have bonded since they've come here, since Finlayson's come to Adelaide, and they speak openly about their relationship and their friendship on and off the field. And to give him his first goal, I think that'd be something special for him.
Great bit of stoppage work as well from Port Adelaide, because they look jumpy, the Gold Coast Suns. We talked about how strong they're going to be in there. They really looked edgy and Port early dictating terms for them.
It was interesting. Took Miller started half forward, and they've gone with Humphrey in the middle with Anderson and Rao. So you think Miller would provide that leadership in there straight up, wouldn't you?
For McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, Triple M Rocks footy. Back in the middle. Here he is again, Rosie, trying to gather. Right on his tail, Anderson. Burn-Jones. Handball came out. Burn-Jones has got it back. Bergman was able to rifle a handball out, but under some heat, Burn-Jones, he kicks it out on the full. And the Suns are going to get the footy across half-back, and Powell on the defensive 50.
Do you reckon they're just trying to ease Miller into it instead of just putting him in the heat straight away, Biggles?
He's a workhorse, though, isn't he? And his off-field work and how strong and fit he is, you wouldn't think he would need much to adapt. But, of course, the knee injury is a different sort of basket, isn't it? You've got to get the agility back into it.
Just saying they might be a bit jumpy. His leadership around the ball, though, early on.
Hayes and Witts again, out of wing. Just nullify each other. Hurried kick going forward. Lukosius couldn't hold on to it under pressure from Jones, who's back in after 3 weeks with that broken jaw. Here's a chance now. 340 gamer. Great work by Boak at half-back. Able to provide some support, and Port Adelaide go forward. The kick came from McIntyre. Finlayson was the target. Just gets paddled back on half-back. The Suns standing up okay. Comes out to McPherson and just drops a little kick, and it's a good one. Strong hands there, and the mark has been taken by Casbolt.
They're going to really need to make sure the big forwards bring it to ground so Aaliyah can't intercept. Casbolt doing just that.
So Casbolt now free kick off the ball. It's going to go to McKenzie against Lukosius. So former Sun McKenzie himself deep in the back pocket here for Port Adelaide. Did you see anything on the Harvey Norman replay?
Just threw him to the ground behind the play. I think Lukosius was a bit frustrated that he didn't have the correct body positioning.
Triple M C-Bus Super Special comments. Sean Burgoyne along with Rhett Biglands tonight. Bergman works it to the outer side. Here's Collins for the Suns. Oh, Farrell. Beautiful little weaving piece of work. Dished off a handball. McPherson. A nice little blind spin. Here he is, Miller. Got himself up around the ball for the Suns at centre wing.
The other part to this, Junior Berger, may be that Humphrey is an absolute star, up-and-coming gun for the Gold Coast Suns. Dewey might just want to give him a bit of midfield time and have a look at it. He turned one over earlier, but getting a crack at it now.
Peter Rooney puts the ball into the half-forward line. Here's a chance now for Powell. They've got a little bit of clear space in the attacking 50. Kick comes from Ainsworth, intercepted. Port Adelaide's defence holding up okay. Here goes Butters, puts the ball under the arm, gets around, has a couple of bounces, has a third. Oh, he gets around again from 52. Butters just pops the ball up, but just didn't have enough legs on it, and Ballard cuts across and takes the mark. Dynamic though, Silk.
It was exciting, but he had the 200 gamer and Dixon just to the left, a little 15-metre chip, just bring him into the game. But his eyes lit up, didn't they?
Oh, did they what?
Had the speed bobbles up too.
He had the crowd up and frothing too. Suns with the ball. Nice mark taken out there by Sammy Collins. So he's got the contest out there with Farrell on this occasion. Back in board, just squares it up fractionally to Weller. On the back edge of the centre square here, the Suns. One straight 6 Port. Suns yet to score on the Triple M Repco scoreboard. It was a nice short ball to the socks pulled up, took Miller. He got it to the big ruckman Witts. Over the top, measures it nicely. Holman, who was smashed into by last week's hero Houston. And Holman's got it for the Suns.
Holman gives it off. Miller, a high ball, looking up 30 out, big contest. Quick kick comes from around the corner from Brandon Ellis. One-on-one contest, Lukosius and Port Adelaide content to see it through from behind Mackenzie, and then he also had a bit of support from Burton. So first score for the Gold Coaster behind Port Adelaide, 1 straight 6. Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard.
Connor Rosie, red hot form. Triple M Red Z lending stats, 5 disposals already coming off the back of his 23 disposals and 3 goals. He would have got 3 Brownlows if it wasn't for Dan Houston's heroics.
Red Bigland's there. Great mark by Boak. He's with Silk Burgoyne tonight on Triple M footy. Here's Rioli. She ducked ahead. Oh, he's able to spit out of the attempted tackle. Now a nice squaring ball into the space. Marshall runs onto it. 55 from home. Had a little tick-up lead from Finlayson. Now he feeds back to the square. Sets it on their head. Out the back, Bergman. No. I reckon he might have been over the line. It's a minor score. So it's 1-1-7 the power. Suns are 1 point. Triple M Repco scoreboard. Repco, driven by passion for 100 years.
You see Silk only moments ago, Todd Marshall in that foot race with Mac Andrew, and he actually went past him. He's pretty quick, isn't he, for someone that tall?
Yeah, it is, and Mac Andrews is pretty quick as well. There's vision of him chasing players down in the VFL before he got his call up.
Casbolt, strong hands at half-back from the kick out. Able to find Witts on the outer wing here of the Adelaide Oval under the Foss Williams grandstand. So up to half forward, and Alia leads out and content to see the ball out over the line.
Just on Foss Williams, what do you think of Choco's speech, the induction night, Silk? One of your former coaches?
Very passionate, wasn't he? Spoke from the heart. And gave a little teaching lesson at the end as well to sign off. Forever the teacher.
So throw in. Tap down. What was the subject of that little teaching, Silk, as the ball spills around?
He does it in every conversation.
Yeah. Little inboard ball. Anderson for the Suns, sends it in there. King came out. Some hanging. Suns. Casbolt, I reckon. So Mackenzie hanging on here. We'll get a look at the Triple M Harvey Norman replay.
Just hold it, Levi.
That was Alia, he's the one who infringed.
Mark's back here, guys. Dan.
Harvey Norman, hot deals on technology now at Harvey Norman. Say hello to big savings on mobiles and audio. Hurry. Limited time only, so get yourself in there.
Yeah, that was there too. Casbolt worked super hard for the front spot and Alia wrapped his arms around him.
So the former blue, Casbolt, 45-degree angle. Cathedral end here at the Adelaide Oval. Kick on the way. Looks pretty good. He's nailed it. We are 1-1-7 apiece on the Triple M Repco scoreboard. We've got Sean Burgoyne and Red Biglands tonight, and Silk, you wanted to see how the Suns started. They've brought a bit of a game in the opening few minutes.
Well, they are. Noah Anderson's up to 6 disposals as well, but Levi Casbolt, we saw him on the wing earlier take a mark 1v2, and then he gets another free there, so he's doing his part right now. He's either marking the ball or bringing it to ground. That's a vital matchup for the Suns, and he's getting on top at the moment.
Yeah, Dewey no doubt would have said just whatever you can do, bring the ball to ground. Do not allow Alia to intercept Mark, or Mackenzie for that matter. And that was a great job there just to get at the footy.
It's set down to the boundary line. Bob Jane T-March, Theodoropoulos.
So the trainers have been out to Alia. Just got Ben King collecting him in the follow-through. A little winded. He was on all fours, but the big fella's up and about. He's waved the trainers away. All good to go.
Thank you, Theodoropoulos down there, keeping warm, and right now it is all square, 1-1-7 apiece. Triple M Repco scoreboard. Back in the centre of the ground, just trying to bustle his way through was Humphrey. Here comes Horn Francis, takes the clearance, wheels around onto his right foot and just chips a little kick, looking for Boak, couldn't hold on to it, close to the line, and Sammy Flanders will see it out right at the interchange bench.
Surely his nickname's Ned, isn't it? Have to be. One of my favourite characters, as well as our producer Vinny too.
We'll have it throw it in, true centre wing, as Vinny just hangs his head in shame at a Biggles attempt at humour as we have the throw in. Rucks go at it. I'm interested in Silk's look at this forward line for the Suns, because if there's been any question marks, it's been that just slightly smaller defence for Port Adelaide, but they win out here. Farrell sends it long. Oh, good mark, Ballard. We spoke to Ken Hinkley pre-game. He was keen on trying to get the ball to ground when this guy's around. They didn't able to achieve it then, but he took a nice mark. Here's Weller in the defensive 50.
We'll get Theo de Robles to keep an eye on Travis Boak too. He's come off the ground just limping with that left leg as Weller sends a ball out of side. Adelaide Oval going back was Bergman, couldn't take it. Jones is wrapped up in a tackle by Oya. And the umpire will get involved. Let's head down now to Bob Jane Teamarts 238.
So Boki is with the physios now. Just the outside of the left knee, medial sort of side. Tests done on the shin and the Achilles as well. Looks like a fair bit of concern about the champ.
Yeah, big wrap-up tackle. And we'll have a ball up as Horne-Francis gets off the base of that contest. Tapped down by Hayes. Flanders tried to squeeze the ball through for the Suns. Rao came steaming. Bergman wrapped him. Umpire will ball it up right on the logo. Centre wing out of side. We're 1-1-7 apiece. Triple M Repco scoreboard. Opening term played nearly 13 minutes.
Horne-Francis able just to scoot the ball nicely. He's taken high by Casbolt. The umpire said, no, you've dropped the knees. Here's a chance now. Coming out was Rosie with the ball, goes forward. Marshall couldn't take it. He was in a little one-on-one with Ballard, who's done well. Powell has the ball, dribbles it just a little one to Rao. So inside attacking 50. Handball over the top. Good bump came for Port Adelaide. It comes out to Rioli now. He hacks one back into the forward line. Finlayson under enormous pressure from Ellis. Here comes Powell Pepper. He's taken in a tackle as well. So standing up well is the defence of the Gold Coast. Powell Pepper goes in again. Wines rifles out a handball to Jones, and the kick is good. He's got Finlayson 55 out.
Great passage of play. Gee, the heat was on then. No easy ball. A lot of blokes just cutting in and out.
So Finlayson right to the teeth of goal. Big fly at the back. Marshall tapped it down. Dixon tried to gather. McPherson came through. Free kick. So Suns will get it. McPherson just held a little too long in the tackle. So deep in defence here, the Suns. 1-1-7 apiece on the Triple M Repco scoreboard. Suns are hemmed away in their defensive 50 here. Atkins has got the ball.
Sub last week, Rory Atkins for Macrow. Just clears the ball out from defence and you see it run out over the line. 55 out from goal. Noah Anderson, 6 touches so far, 6 red Zs for Gold Coast. Connor Rosie's been terrific. He's 7 possessions so far, 3 inside 50s. Made a great start, Biggles.
A couple of non-sniffers too, who haven't sniffed out a touch yet. Kocius and King haven't had a touch, and Charlie Dixon in game 200 hasn't got a disposal yet either.
McPherson came through from defence. Wines has it, gives it to Burton, and the mark's taken by Finlayson. Strong work there. He was able to body Powell out nicely. The kick came in, and terrific work from the Burton kick. So Finlayson with a chance now. He already kicked the first goal, and well, one went through the hands as well. So he is making a great start.
Yeah, right. The kick wasn't to his favour from Burton, but just through sheer body size, he was able to manoeuvre Powell out of the way and mark it over the back.
30 goals for the season for Jeremy. He's been a terrific asset for Port Adelaide since making the move, and from 25 out, just cannons it into the goalpost.
He went to snap, Biggles, and straight in front, you reckon? It's the trend, isn't it?
He has done it. He can do it from 45, can't he? Which is remarkable that he can get that much purchase and bend on a ball around the corner.
So 1 point lead to Port Adelaide. Little chance goes begging there. Alair, big fly, but Casbolt again. He's taken a few marks already. Is that number 3 on the Red Z lending stat?
Yep. Yes, it is, and he's winning that battle at the moment, so he's keeping up his end of the bargain for the team.
It's a big battle against Alair, who's such a key for this Port Adelaide side. Boundary line, it's out of players. It's on the full, I reckon. No umpire saying no. Travis Boak is back on the ground as well. Around the grounds for RAA. Another big game at Marvel tonight. Demons lead that one by 9 points over the Saints. They are at a similar stage in the opening quarter there. And in the netball, the Thunderbirds have a half-time lead, 35 to the Swifts 27.
Horne-Francis has got a little bit of support there. The free kick is going to go Gold Coast way, and it's going to go against Rosie for Darcy McPherson, against Butters rather. So Port Adelaide faithful not happy with it.
He paid pushing the back in the tackle against Butters.
McPherson goes in dangerously. Rioli cuts it off. Houston, it was terrific last week. His kick, though, cut off by Mac Andrew in the centre of the ground, lowers his eyes. Good kick, and a chance now to go forward via Flanders.
And he pokes it into the hard run, looking for Casbolt, tapped it down, away, got it across inside 50. Miller. So took Miller. Straight in front. Cathedral End, 25-30 out.
They get this shot on goal because Casbolt just got an arm in. Elliott looked like he was going to mark the ball, but Casbolt was out of position, stuck his hand out, brings it to ground. They sweep on the crumb and get a square-up kick. So he's well and truly playing a good game so far, Casbolt.
So big kick coming up. Suns looking to hit the lead. Miller straight in front, and he ices that. So they hit the lead. They are 2-1-13. The Suns lead Port Adelaide 1-2-8. Triple M Repco scoreboard. Repco, driven by passion for 100 years. You got Sean Burgoyne, you got Red Biglands on Triple M footy.
More on that point about Casbolt. When he normally starts well over his almost 200-game career, when he clunks them, you know he's on. Yep. It's when he fumbles early in the air and he doesn't really stick his marks, so you think, it might be an almost game. Tonight he has absolutely clunked him and then done the hard work to bring it to ground, and one of the most difficult opponents in Lear to play on.
And he's doing it inside 50. He's also had a quick 5 or 6 minute burst on ball as well, and he's done his part on ball. He's gone back forward. So he started the game very well.
Gold Coast already with a couple of goals, remembering last week in that big 78-point loss to the Pies, they'd only had the one goal that came late in that second quarter to half-time. So Stewie Jew would be feeling a hell of a lot better right now. Witts up in against Finlayson in the middle of the ground, winds, clearance, just Finlayson clever over the top. Got the call from Rosie. He's got some support from Drew. Oh, terrific work by the Suns in defence. Wonderful smother. It was great work by Fiorini, just as Port Adelaide looked like they were going to have another foray forward.
He's in good form as well. Braden Fiorini, even in a losing side where they were absolutely destroyed by the Pies, he still had 21 disposals and 9 marks. And that smother saved a certain inside forward 50 ball.
And they're sort of trying to run with Butters and they missed it. So he actually went to go and sit with Flanders, who was on Rosie, and Butters got the possession. Drew inside 50 for the power. Here he is, Burne-Jones off the contest. Ballard got his body in between the ball and the goals, and he clears it now for the Suns. Ball, Wines tried to gather, couldn't. Burton nice and clean. Got it off the toes. Handball out to Drew. Oh, it was a lightning one to Rosie. Tumbles it inside 50. Big Dicko and Collins. What a battle that is. We'll have it tossed in. 45 around Port Adelaide's end. The Suns by 5 points. Triple M Repco scoreboard. Nearly 20 minutes gone opening term.
Sam Collins making life tough for the milestone man, Charlie Dixon, wearing him like a glove. So Charlie's got a bit of a reprieve now to go into the ruck at a half forward against Witts. Taps it down just over the top of McEntee. Couldn't take it. And Rosie seen out over the line by McPherson.
Sam Collins is a really interesting story as well. I mean, one of the best and fairest for the Suns, and no one actually wanted him. He was delisted and put on the scrap heap, and he's fought his way back, and really, really reliable defender now. Played every game this year and closing in on a century.
So throw in, voice of Red Biglands there, alongside Sean Burgoyne with their Seabus Super special comments tonight. The footy wrapped up. Seabus Super making hard work pay off, so we're still in Port's attacking 50. It's a real grind around this stoppage at the moment. Tap down. Rowell for the Suns. Oya came steaming through, was very clean. Now an opportunity, Ainsworth. Got it to Ellis. They set up here. Lukosius tried to put some body on. He was able to get some ground level pill. Now he delivers inside 50. Casbolt! Oh, Biggles! Those mitts are a sticky. And he's going to go back and have a shot from basically where he kicked one earlier.
Clunking him, isn't he? 1v2 again in between the ruckman and the fullback.
When he's on, just put it anywhere near him. And Lukosius, though, he weaved a little bit of magic on the outer side. And Mackenzie's hobbling here. He's going to come in the hands of the trainers. We'll get Theo to update us there. But on the Harvey Norman replay, how good was Lukosius with his little side step and deliver?
Well, the transition, they kick the ball from too far back. The teams that are sitting in the top 4 transition that ball and they get the ball centre and forward and they kick it longer. They kick that ball from half back to Lukosius, and he's good enough to pick the ground ball up and then put the ball perfectly. Just want them to transition that ball a bit further before they start kicking the ball longer.
Mackenzie really struggling as he hobbles off here. Casbolt looking for his second. Kick on its way is good. They've got 3 opening quarter goals, the Suns. It is 3-1-19 the Gold Coast. Port Adelaide a 1-2-8. Triple M Repco scoreboard. Theo Doropoulos for Bob Jane T-Marts. This end of financial year, Bob Jane T-Marts have great buy 3, get 1 free plus instant cash back deals. Call or order online today. T's and C's apply.
Yatesy McKenzie making his way off the ground in the hands of the trainers. Can't put any real weight on his right leg. Severe discomfort. If he is unable to go on and subbed out, this could open the door for Tom Jonas in the future. He's just trying to get a bit more momentum as he heads off the ground, but yeah, he looks in some significant pain.
Looks like his right ankle, as he's running back, he just flicks it. You can't put any pressure on that.
A big blow for Port Adelaide. He looks like he's in all sorts of trouble. Thank you, Theo, to Bob Jane T-Marts. A round of applause for Mackenzie, and it's 3 goals in a row for the Gold Coast. So they lead by 11 points. They've only won 6 first quarters for the year so far, so this is a brilliant start, particularly coming off last week. Anderson coming through. He's been pinned. Great tackle for Port Adelaide. So free kick going to go to Wines, who's been pretty busy in the centre of the ground. Clearing kick into the 50. Bergman in a good position, but Rioli used his body well. And after a couple of weeks off, Junior has taken the mark and he'll kick from 50 directly in front.
Well, he's directly matched up on Weller. And Weller just turned his back on the ball slightly and took his eye off the ball, and Rioli was able to see the ball was going to drop short and mark it. He might be right on his distance here, kicking 55 out.
14 goals for the season for the West Coast Premiership player, and as you heard from the 400 gamer Silk, right on 50, and distance-wise is good. The accuracy is good. He loves it. It's a brilliant kick from Rioli. Port Adelaide get their second goal. They get back within 5 points. 2-2-14. Gold Coast 3-1-19. Triple M Repco scoreboard.
Flushed it, didn't he? Just kicked it perfect and went straight through. For Gold Coast, all their hard work, they battle away and they get a good lead and kick a goal, and then to give a goal up from a centre bounce really easily just undoes the hard work that they've put in so far.
It's the second contest I've seen Lockie Weller tonight not up to the standard. Easily outbodied by someone you wouldn't expect, and he had a one-on-one right in front of the interchange gates where he sort of second-guessed himself. Now, he's been around for 130 games, Weller, but that'd be disappointing from his coach, for sure, to see that type of contest inside forward 50.
What are the centre bounce clearances on the Red Z Lendings, Biggles?
Come back to you on that one, Yatesy. Questions without notice aren't required here in the Red Z Lending stat sheet, please.
So we're back in the middle, sitting right in front of you there, big fella.
That's the one. 5-zip.
That's what I thought. Port Adelaide's way. And here we go again. It's 6-zip out of the middle for Port Adelaide, and they go inside 50 again. Andrew, big fly.
That's a really good mark in the conditions, isn't it?
Really big jump. Oh no! Handball off to Atkins. Tried to bite off a bit more than he could chew. Finlayson's pressure was big. They're under some heat back here, the Suns. But Weller able to get the boot into the Sharon. Launches it out of the area. Will it be for long though? Horn Francis. Oh gee, it came off the outside of the boot. Now Ellis for the Suns under pressure. Oh, Flanders, gee, heard Powell Pepper steaming in. Weller unloads down the line. Lockie Jones at ground level. Oya came through. Lukosius tried to get it to Oya. Falls to Holman. Bouncing ball. Picks it up. Oya came in. Bergman, brilliant. Here's Jones back to Bergman.
Terrific work from Bergman, though. The kick, he's just overcooked it, looking for Boak at half back and put it out on the full with Port Adelaide's defence. Cool, calm and collected until the kick.
Lockie Jones was pretty good, though, in the 3 prior contests. Strong in that. Standing out really well.
Ellis goes down. Casbolt was a target. He's had a big first quarter with his couple of goals. Couldn't take the mark. Kick comes back in. King, who's taken down the tackle by Burton. He had a bit of a nightmare last week. King, Darcy Moore took him to the cleaners, didn't kick a goal, and right now he's under enormous pressure from Port Adelaide's defence too.
So, ball up. Tap down by Hayes for the power. And Witts came through, actually did a bit of roving work. So it's inside the 50 here for the Suns. Holman, he was steaming out. He was able to gather it, but wrapped up pretty quickly by McEntee. And another ball up. A lot of players around the ball. Spills down. Rao, like the bulldog he is, tried to drive through. Ellis to Lukosius, tumbling ball inside 50. Holman. Very good in the contest there. Williams was right on his hammer, but he was able to take it on the chest in the end on the Harvey Norman.
It's a good fight back from Holman as well. He was down with a bit of an ankle. That's a strong contested mark. Williams is developing across half back, but Holman is a difficult matchup. Really knows how to work hard offensively and just do what he needs to when the ball hits the ground and provide that tackling pressure as well.
Holman's been a bit of a batting around last few weeks too, hasn't he? Real hard grunt stuff, getting in and under.
So the former Central District Bulldog, he kicks it and he gets it. They have got 4 for the night, the Suns. Gee, they're happy with that. So they're 4-1-25, Port Adelaide at 2-2-14. Triple M Repco scoreboard, Sean Burgwell and Rhett Bigland's Triple M footy.
In these conditions, Lukosius' class has stood out at the moment, hasn't it? Every time he goes near the ball, he's either getting a hand in or a kick in, and that's a quick snap. And to some people, it's a quick snap, but he put that favoured side to Holman under pressure as well. And Holman goes back and kicks the goal. But the move for Lukosius to go up forward this year has been a really good one.
He's such a smart ball user. Really, really good ball use. He's got a just dynamic kick, and that's the one you need going inside forward 50. Charlie Dixon's still yet to have a disposal on the Triple M Red Z lending statue. That's not what you want in game 200.
Sam Collins giving Big Charlie a tough time at it as we're back in the centre of the ground. Sam Hayes reacquainting himself with Wits. The centre clearances have been all Port Adelaide to start with. This time Rao gets one, works hard. He's got McInty chased him, able to clear it for Gold Coast. Lockie Jones up against Lukosius. Spoils him, and we'll have the ball here. Bergman and Fiorini sitting on top of him at half back. So late in this first term, it's an 11-point lead for the Gold Coast. Miller back in the side, just tries to tap it on over his head, and the ball's taken out of bounds by Williams.
They'll have it thrown in. I mean, to even try and give Dixon a quick run in the ruck, you know, just to sort of get him around the ball and a bit of a vibe, because he'd be thinking exactly what you're saying, Biggles. I haven't touched it in this big game for 200. Touchdown that came from Wits. Hayes did some ground level work. Vaughan Francis wrapped up strongly by Miller. And we'll have a ball up 50 out from the Suns' goal. They lead it by 11 points, Gold Coast.
Well, Hayes doing some good work. He's laid 4 tackles already in the ruck, trying to get his hands dirty back in the side, and he'll get another go here. We've got a stalemate, just 51 out from the Gold Coast goal. 29 gone in this first term here at the Adelaide Oval. Gold Coast by Miller, takes it out, they go forward. Aaliyah pushes Casbolt out of the way. Burton with a clearing kick. Only as far as Atkins is over there. He's got a little bit of support. Kick goes forward. Mark taken nicely though by Houston. Just at half back. So Port Adelaide able to stop that attack forward and might just see them out here as a little kick goes to Butters at half back.
Ryan Burton's resurgence, Silk. I was surprised to see him dropped. I didn't think he was that bad to be dropped, but he's responded though, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He went back to the SNFL for a few weeks. A few weeks before he got dropped, he was forward, and then he was back forward and didn't adjust too well. But like you're right, since he's come back into the team, he's more consistent.
Putting it half forward here for Port Adelaide, and gee, they jump right on there. So we'll have a ball up, fill up at full time with Macca's Angus range. Suns lead this one as we tick towards quarter time by 11 points. Powell-Pepper just got boot to ball. Rao. Gee, was tackled and stood up. That was unbelievable, given that it was Willem Drew hanging off him. Here's Holman. He's running hard. He's kicked a goal already. Just overran the ball. Boak had great effort by Holman again. Exactly what you said, Silk. He's been this grunt, hasn't he, over the last few weeks?
Well, he caused Farrell to fumble that ball. Farrell was out on his left foot, but his pressure and presence there was able to force the ball up.
Got a good nickname too, the Freckle.
Hi, Gold Coast.
Theo Duropoulos, Bob James Seamarts.
Bit of movement on the Port Adelaide bench, guys. Quinton Narkle, if he's not injected into this game shortly, 30 seconds to go in this term, then might well be at quarter time. Mackenzie in the room's no real sign, and Narkle just ever so slightly starting to remove his training kit.
Witz goes forward with the kick. Casbolt's been terrific this time, outbodied by Aaliyah and delivers a little kick to Houston. He's got to go back to Aaliyah on the siren, so It's been a promising start by the Gold Coast, coming off that big loss last week against Collingwood. 4-1, 25. They lead Port Adelaide 2-2, 14, 11 points here, quarter time. Triple M Repco scoreboard.
And around the grounds for RAA, the Demons lead it by 7 points at Marvel Stadium over the Saints. They're underway in the second term there. It's quarter time here at the Adelaide Oval. Suns by 11 for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M rocks footy.
That quarter for Repco, driven by passion for 100 years.
For McDonald's,
Triple M rocks footy.
fill up at full time with the Macca's Angus range.
You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly.
Shut up! The foot is on the radio!
Triple M rocks footy.
This quarter for Beacon Trade. Beacon Trade's here to partner with your business by designing your lighting and electrical plans for free. Beacon Trade, let's make light work.
Saturday night footy, quarter time. Suns lead the power by 11 points. 4-1-25 Gold Coast. Quarter 2-2-14 straight to Theodoropoulos for Bob Jane T-Mats.
Yeah, the main concern obviously for Port Adelaide is Trent McKenzie. The doctors run all the way back to their rooms to get a pair of crutches, which is now going down into the rooms next to the bench. So he will be done for the night. Quinton Narkle has been activated as the sub. He's in the middle of the Port Adelaide huddle at the moment, full kit on. So whether he starts this second quarter on the ground. We'll just wait and see. Looks like he is actually. So he's into the game, and the starting sub for the Gold Coast is Jai Farah, still unactivated at this stage. No injury concerns for the Suns.
Brett Bigland, Sean Burgoyne, opening quarter. The Suns have come to play.
Well, the big one there, of course, Yatesy, sorry, just to divert quickly, is Tom Jonas would be the likely replacement if Mackenzie's no good. Now, he only had the 9 disposals today in their win over the Eagles, 36-point win. Not a lot of ball down his way, but that is interesting, though, that whether or not they recall the skipper.
Well, for me, the story of the first quarter was the Levi Caswell show. He's had the 5 disposals at 100%, 4 marks and 2 goals. He's been the difference.
That's probably one of the reasons why they talk about Port needing just that extra tall defender in the future years, that is. But there's no doubt one of the strategies going in against Port Adelaide is make Aaliyah accountable. Much easier said than done because it relies on pressure from the mids to do so as well.
And Connor Rosie started the game off on fire. He had the 9 disposals and was Port's best player, but clearly Levi is a difference at the moment.
The other thing that was interesting to me was they couldn't get the ball out of the middle, the Suns, yet they lead by 11 points. Their ability to move the ball from their back half to go and score is something we haven't seen a lot against Port Adelaide. They seem to do it, and they seem to have players in space. Is that league speed or positioning or a bit of both?
Yeah, it's work rate. I think they're working a bit harder from stoppage because they actually got 3 goals, the Suns, from stoppage also. So I've noticed their spread. Their spread has been really good at getting on the move. But the question is, and the real worry for the Suns is, every time it goes back into the centre bounce, that's where Port looked dangerous. They scored from there as well.
The Suns only the 1 win against Port Adelaide. That was back in 2011 from McDonald's and Ream Hotwater. Triple M Rocks footy, second quarter. Suns by 11 points. Tap down comes towards Horn Francis. Just goes for a little one off the deck looking for Powell Pepper. Comes back to Horn Francis again. Here's Rosie. Started like he finished off the first quarter rather. Goes up Burn Jones. Couldn't take it. Coming down now for the Suns, trying to wrap things up as well. Who had a pretty difficult start to the game so far. Port Adelaide into their attacking 50.
A lot of players around this ball. And Dixon, his first touch in game 200. Powell Pepper dished it off. Boat from the impossible. Squaring sort of check side ball. Falls ground level. Oh, free kick's going to go to Ballard here. Rioli was right there to swoop. The free kick to Ballard.
It's a really impressive role that Ballard can do. A shutdown role and an intercepting one.
Yep.
Not too many defenders can do both.
Works very well with Collins, doesn't he? Collins does a shutdown normally and he air assists.
Boat turns around. His vision is outstanding. Delivers the ball forward. Burn Jones is loving his time forward. Has taken the mark and returns the favour nicely. He's got Connor Rosie running in and gains an extra 10 metres. So Rosie, tight angle, 35 out Port Adelaide with a real crack at a goal here.
Real smart by Rosie. The defenders fell asleep and thought Burn Jones was just going to have a shot on goal, and he just slips forward and takes an easy mark uncontested. So just a bit of lapse in concentration there from the Gold Coast players.
3 goals last week for Rosie, along with his 9 tackles. Had a terrific game. This kick, though, just hangs it out right, doesn't come back, hasn't even got enough on it, actually. It's brought down into the forward pocket. Witts gets it, clearing kick for Gold Coast, and works out okay to Lukosius at half-back.
So Lukosius had a pretty busy back end of that first quarter. Holman the same to Rowell. Here we go. This is the sort of space I'm talking about. Just slipped through the fingers there of King. He had that all sewn up. Bergman was a few metres off him. Here's Rosie, though, for Port Adelaide. Step this way and that way. Nice long raking handball to Burton. He's going to try and bite it off through the middle of the ground. Looking for Hayes. Fist there from Weller. Ground level. Porter got some numbers here. Lockie Jones came through over the top. Chipping ball is good. Williams from 50. Oh, sold some candy. Lined it up. He was a bit excited. Caught the instep. Here's McPherson for the Suns. And they're going to be able to try and clear Ainsworth on the end of it.
Nick Highwood's spoil was crucial, wasn't it? Closing speed, late got it done, and McPherson's gather was terrific also.
Ainsworth just goes down the line. Williams comes in with a fist. Burton under pressure from Miller. Gold Coast centre wing here. Miller just with a little hit and hope. It's okay. Lukosius has it. He runs in, he's got an open goal square, goes in low from 52 and dribbles it through nicely. So Gold Coast get their 5th goal. They move along to 5-1-31. They lead by 17 points. Great start in the second quarter for them on the Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard.
Well, the pressure on the wing from the Gold Coast players, they got the ball going and then they had a wave of players at Oya's slick hands over the top. And then as soon as Lukosius got it, he took the 2 or 3 steps, sized it up, and he was always going to kick the goal. But that's on the back of pressure, which is a mindset thing. And it's not one player. They had about 5 or 6 players.
Yeah, how good Andrew involved, McAndrew, Ned Flanders. They were terrific going through there, just keeping the ball alive. And remember Jack Lukosius doing that, Soda, playing for West Torrens when he kicked 5 as a teenager on this very oval.
Absolutely, playing in the finals. He just showed
in a
right from
prelim
the start. We knew he was going to be a wonderful player.
Exact same thing, striding down the wing, banging from 50 at 17 years of age. And he's a dead set jet.
The McDonald's and Ream Hot Water Triple M Rocks footy. You can see last week has been sitting in the guts of the Suns all week. They've been itching to get out and respond. And got an opportunity. So Burn Jones didn't know it was his kick. Umpires mic'd up exclusively here for Triple M footy. Suns by 17 points on the Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard. Burn Jones on the attacking side of centre. Puts a ball inside 50. G in the spot there, Rowell. He's able to get the boot into it. It's a high up and under. Suns have got some numbers here. Spills out the back though. Bergman got it on the boot. King's not having a great night for the Suns. That's whose hands it slipped through. But Marshall, what about that for a one-arm take? Under some real pressure. And he's taken the mark, tight angle, about 15 metres out.
I think you're being nice to King there, Yatesy. He is honking at the moment, isn't he?
Well, he's dropped an easy mark on Bergman at centre forward moments ago. And again, not his night so far.
Marshall. Can he drag a goal back here for Port Adelaide? Yes, he can. Margin back to 11 points. Suns lead it 5-1-31. Port 3-2-20. Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard. Beacon Trade's here to partner with your business by designing your lighting and electrical plans for free. Beacon Trade, let's make light work.
So you got Casbold, who's playing a really good game as a tall, and you got King, who's not quite hitting his straps at the moment. What would you like to see there, Biggles, as a fellow tall?
King is definitely a confidence player. He has the ability to turn and go. You're not seeing the energy from him. So just put it to his advantage and try and take him on and just try and get it to ground and have a second effort.
And he's matched up on Bergman.
Yeah, Bergman's been in good form though, but he's embarrassed him so far.
But height and size-wise, he has the advantage, doesn't he?
Definitely.
The Triple MC Bus Super Special comments, Sean Burgoyne and also Red Biglands. We'll quickly head down to Theodoropoulos for Bob Jane T-Marts.
So to Trent McKenzie on crutches into the rooms, night well and truly over. Could be a couple of weeks looking at the severity. The other one, as he touched on Bergman and King, look for Bergman to get up the ground and run King off his feet.
Chance now for Swallow in the centre of the ground. They get a clearance here. Humphrey, high ball going forward. Burton in front of Miller with a punch. Oya gets it, gives it out to Fiorini. Here's a chance for Ainsworth. Oh, terrible kick. Under little pressure, just puts it out of bounds as they went forward. So Port Adelaide. It bounced. No, it just bounced before it went out. So the umpire will throw it in. 52 out from the Gold Coast goal.
The Port fans are wanting a bit of deliberate there. Just very poorly executed by Fiorini. Ball tapped down. Horn Francis. Boat came through. Miller wrapped up. Gee, that was some slick in close hands by Fiorini again. Now a throw. It's going against Port Adelaide. So Fiorini again. Left foot ball deep inside 50. Big leap, Lukosius. Couldn't get near it in the end. King had front spot. He's bustled over the line. And we will have it thrown up. Gee, what about that? From jumping Jack Lukosius. It was all over him.
Probably a free kick, 4 deep. Hands on the shoulders, doesn't touch the ball.
No worries, Negative Nancy. Let the boy fly.
Still got to touch the ball.
Making life hard for Ben King, trying to sit on his head as the ball thrown in over the top. Humphrey taken down. And he won't be able to get out of that in the clutches of Narkle, who's come on for McKenzie. And Tommy Jonas might be licking his lips, thinking he's a chance to get back in, the captain, after having a run here. Ball comes to Swallow. A high ball towards the square. Oh, good work. So King's night nightmare night continues. He's gone up against Aliir in the forward pocket, and Aliir used the body well and took the mark and has given it on to Farrell.
It's the one disposal for King and -4 metres gained.
Wow.
Even in that contest, he acted like he got the contact unexpected. With Aliir in a one-on-one contest, you've got to expect contact.
And Biggles, I think your point about just the energy just seems to be lacking that up and aboutness. Here's Williams for Port Adelaide from halfback, sending it long to the Dixon direction. Takes the mark. 80 from home. Had a little lead up from Rioli. And another one from Finlayson. Oh, gee, this is a dangerous ball. It sits up and Ainsworth is able to chip in. He chopped it off nicely. Dished a wide ball. Lukosius putting it out in front. Oya's going to run onto it boldly. It's going to bounce. Boundary line. He's bustled over by Farrell. At right half forward, we'll have it tossed in. Suns by 11 on the Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard. And, of course, built tough for Aussie conditions when it comes to water heating. Ask your plumber to install a ream.
9 gone in this second term. It's Suns by 11. Comes out towards Flanders. He's going up against Drew, who's having a wonderful year. Willem Drew, and another stalemate. So this is a chance for the umpire to reset.
We spoke about stoppages being a real tight battle for both these gun midfields. Matty Rowell's had 5 first possessions, Horn Francis with 4. Clearance-wise, though, and they've gone the way of the Gold Coast.
Lear up against King, and the mark's taken by Lear as the ball was pumped forward for the Gold Coast. So Port doing all right in defence at the moment. Gold Coast still getting plenty of opportunities.
Now, Houston with the ball. Gee, King off the ball. He was filthy, his midfielders, for playing on there, but he was beaten all ends up, really, as footy comes from Ellis. So they're back inside 50 here, the Suns. Lear again. Another mark for him.
He's done it back-to-back to King. Now Lukosius, he just initiates body contact early and then takes the mark.
Great insight there from Sean Burgoyne. Boundary line, it's out of play. He's right next to Red Biglands tonight for Seabus Super, making hard work pay off.
If those two tools don't initiate contact with Lear first, in every contest, he will mark the ball, which is exactly what he's doing right now.
And that's been with Casbolt on the bench. So Casbolt now comes onto the ruck, but they need Casbolt up there smashing packs.
Lear's gone on to King now, and Bergman's gone to Lukosius as Drew tries to get it. Little kick from Gold Coast. King couldn't take the ball with him. Drew gets a little kick looking for McEntee. Butters through his legs. Oh, he's crunched down there by Ferrerini. And Powell gets a free kick. The umpire said it was too high. The Port faithful not happy with that at all against Drew. So Powell delivers it to Rao. He's still 60 out. He gets moving quickly. Ball up forward. Aliir looking for it. The mark not taken. King had a couple of goes at it. Comes to Hayes. Clearing kick into a danger zone. McAndrew thumps it forward and it comes out the poach. The umpire said play on. He pulled a throw, but he said to Port Adelaide you can keep going. Butters is chased down. It was a terrific chase and a great tackle from Humphrey. And he's going to have a chance to have a shot at goal from 50 out as the Port Adelaide defence come in and try and throw their weight around.
That is an outstanding tackle by Humphreys. Butters was going at full tilt and he chased him the whole way and didn't fall into his back.
This is why they signed him straight away. They gave him a 4-year deal it was, and of course it was pick number 6, but those around Gippsland and Moe and Matty Gallagher's territory, they rate him. They know he's a hard nut who just gets at the footy, real footy head who just lives and breathes it.
Well, Butters had 2 outs. He had 2 Port players free, but he couldn't look up there because Humphreys was chasing him and putting great pressure on.
So Bailey Humphrey, he's kicked 9 goals from his 12 games. The teenager from 51. Distance isn't a problem, but he hangs it out to the right, and that's where it stays. Just checking here, Port Adelaide 3-2-20, Gold Coast 5-2-32. Couple of goal break right here on the Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard. Beacon Trade's here to partner with your business by designing your lighting and electrical plans for free. Beacon Trade, let's make light work.
So Port Adelaide, they down by 12 points. Now Rioli free kick, nearly had his head ripped off. So footy's just backward of the centre of the ground. He pushes it out wide to Butters. Got some space to move. Humphrey was right there with him late. Butters just didn't pull the kick off that well. Powell. He's going to measure it basically to where Butters stood, to the opposing number 9 this time. Ainsworth has got it for the Suns. Inboard. Oh, Narkle. He was able to sweep in, applied some nice pressure, released a handball. McIntyre to Dixon. Dixon got it over the top, drew a ball inside 50. Port Adelaide got something from nothing here with Marshall. They want 50. He's taken the mark at 50.
The Narkle spoil on the wing is what got it done. The Suns should have kicked the ball 50 or 60 metres and landed on top of their 50 arc, but because they try to get the inside kick, and Narkle's watching the kicker, he gets the intercept.
I mean, how good was his reaction time, wasn't it? The spark that Port needed comes from Narkle just chopping one off the super sub.
Oh, the sparkle from Narkle Biggles.
The BT action.
So here we go. Marshall, he's right where the 50 joins the boundary. Cathedral end, left forward area. Improves a couple of steps. He hasn't really got the juice behind it. Falls to the square. Oh, gee, no one on the line. It rolls through. And it's a minor score. 11 points the lead for the Suns on the Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard. Around the grounds for RAA. And the T-Birds lead the Swifts by a goal. They're in the final term there.
Wow.
And it's Melbourne by 13 points over the Saints at Marvel.
And the Thunderbirds.
You T-Birds.
The Gold Coast by 11 points. Clearing kick came from Anderson up to the centre wing. Farrell comes through, gives it to Butters. Made a couple of mistakes. Can he redeem himself now? He goes to Big Charlie. Has a couple of bites at it. The umpire said no. Comes out to Rosie. Gets around on his right foot. He's a deadly finisher. He's clinical. He's clever and he's full of class. Rosie goals for Port Adelaide. And they sneak in that little bit closer. They're just down by 5 points. 4-3. 27, Gold Coast 5-2, 32, Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard.
Really good snap by Rosie, but I'm just keen to see on the Harvey Norman replay where his actual opponent was, because he was just at the front of the contest all by himself, Biggles.
He's having a terrific game, so now moved up to 13 disposals. He was sitting there for an eternity, put out the old fold-out table and deck chair and just sat there waiting for a handball received to snap. And you're right, where was his opponent? Is that midfield work rate? So he's going to half forward now.
Yep. He's the only one was at front and centre.
So often midfielders lose their direct opponent in that transition, don't they, when they're on ball and then slip up half forward and they look around to say who's on him.
So we're back in the middle for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M Rocks footy. Suns lead it by 5, but they've had a couple of costly errors. Oh, gee, is that in the back? Free kick. So it's against Swallow. Going to Wines. Harvey Norman replay there. Hot deals on technology now at Harvey Norman as Wines kicks a long ball. Say hello to big savings on mobiles and audio. Hurry, limited time only. Suns through half back. They try and repel this Port attempted attack. And Ellis got boot to ball. Lukosius had to bend down a long way. Very nice little move. Now they might open up through the middle here. Slip through the hands of Rowell. Anderson got boot to ball. It's a high one. Pumps him inside 50. Holman. Alir closed late. Ground level ball. Holman feeds out the back. He soccers it. Working hard, Ainsworth. Look at the power chasing. It was a 3-on-1. Here's Fiorini. He's tucked in that pocket. It's a ball looking for Humphrey. Powell Pepper came through. Wines for the power. He got it out of there. For how long? It's a bouncing ball. Oh, Butters caught one in the leg. He's going to have a ripping corky. And we'll have a ball up in the centre square area. Suns by 5.
Gee, that was a big contest. Ballard, was it? Going through, stuck a leg out. So they're going to have a look at that. See what you see there on the Harvey Norman replay.
Well, Butters wasn't happy. Got up and straightened with the umpire and grabbed his leg.
Flanders forward with the kick. Bergman used his body well with Alir. They've combined nicely. They've been terrific in defence against the big boys from the Gold Coast. Drew couldn't take it. Out of side. Ball just slapped forward. Dixon misses it. Here's a chance for Finlayson. He's got a one-on-one. Rioli with Weller. He's already outsmarted him once, and he's done it twice. Rioli waltzes into a goal. Puts it through for Port Adelaide. They hit the front by a point. Port 5-3, 33. Gold Coast 5-2, 32. Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard.
You mentioned Weller in the first quarter, Biggles. You weren't happy with 2 contests. He comes back hard, spoils the ball, but then goes to ground in the goal square in a 1v1. You probably want to knock that over for a spoil, wouldn't you?
You've got to realise the desperation stakes, don't you? That's the third time Weller hasn't been good enough in the contest, and Rioli really shouldn't bustle him off the ball with Weller's experience. But the value of players who get extra purchase on the kick, not too many blokes could get 50, 60 metres with penetration on the kick like Finlayson did on the outer side. It was a beautiful kick.
Because he mark and rolled and played on, didn't he? He knew there was space over the back. And Rioli just kept his feet in the goal square.
Oh, great comment, Sean Burgoyne and Red Biglands for Seabus. We've got a recall bounce in the middle for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M Rocks footy. Also a rain delay at the Ashes for RAA, so a bit of a late start there. Free kick going to Round. Furthest umpire away, not the controlling one, pulled that out. Opportunity here for Swallow. He peeled around, got the handball. Casbolt couldn't quite drag it in. Ground level. Flanders dished it off. Fiorini, a snapping ball. It's going right there, but a nice sliding mark by Boak. Right on the last line. And it's 50 because he didn't get back to the 9 metres, Ellis, to give him the space to go quickly.
So Boak up to 8 disposals now. 3 marks. We know the veteran is clinging for every game and doing a great job tonight.
34-year-old from Torquay gives it to Burton. He releases and the kick goes up. Finlayson is having an absolute cracking game in his 100th. Strong contested mark, and he'll kick from 50.
Well, we spoke about Ali at one end.
It's a reversal.
Against Sam Hayes on Wits behind play.
He was just running past him though, wasn't he? Or Harvey Norman replay giving us a good look at it, but I thought Hayes was just going past Wits.
So Finlayson doesn't get his shot on goal. McPherson now has it at half back, and ticking the time on here in this second term. It's been a great quarter for Port Adelaide, and Alia has been terrific, leads forward and takes the mark in front of King at half back.
So he goes sideways. So Alia, he's taken 6 marks for Red Z Lending as Farrell sends the footy to half forward. Very nice mark, McPherson. Just a little one-arm take. He held Burne-Jones off with the other. Took it pretty comfortably. Here's Atkins. Former Crow pushes it out wide, looking for Miller in a one-on-one. He was able to outbody Burton. Oh, gee, tripped over his own feet there, Fiorini. Oh, that's Amy Clanger stuff. Now it's fallen to Burton. Right foot ball, going inside 50, bouncing, rolling, boundary, out. Right under the old scoreboard. No, Collins used the go-go gadget arms and kept it in. How he did that, I don't know. Rosie wrapped up. Here's Atkins. Better from Fiorini this time, or is it straight to Hayes for Port Adelaide?
That'll please Ken Hinckley. Hayes standing a kick behind and taking a strong grab.
Sammy Hayes just pops it up, looking for Dixon. He's got a bit of separation at the front, couldn't take the mark. Hurried kick out of defence. Comes to Humphrey. Fires back a handball to Fiorini, and Flanders now hurries the ball forward, and Miller has it out of wing. Just trying to get things held up a little bit. The swinging momentum going Port Adelaide's way. The umpires told Miller to play on. Looking up for King at half forward. He's got 3 Port Adelaide defenders to deal with. Punch comes down to Fiorini. Comes to Miller now. Just tries to thread the ball nicely, but his target was Holman. But the mark has been taken by Farrell, and he has it at half back.
Great intercept work from Farrell, wasn't it? Clean.
He delivers down the line to the contest. Drew ground level. Socketed off the deck. Kicks to space. Suns with some numbers here. Swallow got boot to ball quickly. Humphrey just sort of worked under it a bit there by Burton. Great handball by Rosie. Got it to Jones, and now Williams, and now Dixon. So the big chuck wagon. Centre wing out of side. Delivers to Wines. He played on out of bounds. So he goes inside 50 and finds Marshall.
I think the umpire might have missed one there. Is that a throw-in?
5 metres out of bounds, Sil.
That should be a throw-in, shouldn't it?
Absolutely it should.
I've enjoyed this matchup, Marshall and McAndrew. They're going at it hammer and tong, these two.
It was incredible, wasn't it, Yoti? from Wines.
Yeah,
He's almost high-fiving the crowd.
There he is. He's out one.
What's
two,
going on there?
He's 4 or 5 steps at least over the mark, playing on around the outside of the white line, which is supposed to be the boundary. As Marshall comes in, bit of luck for Port Adelaide. He just pushed it across the face. Ground level. Burn-Jones wrapped up, and we'll have a ball up deep here. Cathedral end for the Power. They lead it by a point. Port Adelaide. Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard.
3 goals to 1 in favour of the Power in this second term. Rao with a kick going forward. Hayes just knocks it forward right on the 50 arc. Pressure from Anderson was on Farrell, and Oya tries to just bustle his way through Ollie, and he won't. And the Port Adelaide players are saying it's come off the boot of Oya out of bounds. The umpire said absolutely not, and they'll throw it in 60 out from the Port goal.
I like Oya there. He spoiled Sam Hayes, the smallest man on the field, spoiled the tallest man on the field. Really good intent by the little fella.
He showed some great energy tonight, Silken. He's been bobbling in and around everywhere. Ground level ball. Drew. He's hard to get past. Swallow at ground level. Now it's wrapped up.
A couple of players getting busy on the Triple M Reds End lending stats. Matt Rao continuing his good form. He's had 16 disposals in this match. Ned Flanders with 13 and Connor Rosie 14. Ollie Wines with 12, which is a vast improvement from where Wines was last week, down on his usual form. Silken, what do you put his roll down to now with Ollie Wines? Obviously there's a different mix in that midfield because they've got so much speed around the ball. Where does Wines fit into it?
Well, I think you're just going to share the load now because you've got Horn Francis, Rosie, Butters in there, and Willem Drew does a go-to role normally. So he's just got to be bits and parts. Like, you're not the whole machine anymore that when you won the Brownlow. So, and you've got Travis Boak floating in there as well. So although he wants to be on ball most of the time, he's going to have to share that role.
Triple MC Bus Super Special, Sean Burgoyne, Alair at half-back doing a great job. Combines with Williams. The target was Hayes, couldn't take it. Pal Pepper to Butters, just gives it up. So here's a chance now for Gold Coast. Here's Anderson, just works his way through and then delivers the ball nicely to Lukosius at half forward. His vision was not great. He was looking for Ainsworth. It was cut off by Farrell. Houston combines with Farrell. Little flick over the top. Port Adelaide not out of trouble yet. And it comes back to Weller. Puts the ball to half forward, one-on-one. Casbolt via Leah. Comes down to Holman. Snaps around on his left and he gets it. So the Gold Coast Suns are back in front. Holman's got his second. 6-2-38. They are 5 points over Port Adelaide. 5-3 at 33. Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard.
I mentioned Casbolt at the start of the quarter. He's able to do what Lukosius and King aren't. He goes to Leah and initiates contact and brings the ball to ground, and Holman can read that. He's not getting outmarked and they're able to get a goal purely because he brings the ball to ground.
It's a good score source there as well for the Suns because they didn't have it their own way. It could have easily rebounded out. They elected to come through the middle via Ainsworth, and when that could have opened them up so much to go down the other end, they competed to keep it in their front half. Casbolt terrific. Holman snap, fantastic.
Now we're back in the middle. Seabus Super Special comments, Red Biglands. What about the beauty from Silk before? Just the bits and parts of the machine. You're not the whole thing anymore. For McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, Triple M Rocks footy. Free kick. Suns again. So, Port Adelaide, some of these clearances have been frees. They go inside 50 through Miller. Alair came with a big fist over the back. Ground level, it's wrapped up. They sit on him. We'll have a ball up. The Suns lead this by 5 points on the Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard. Played nearly 27 minutes second term.
Whitson Dixon, a whistle.
Gold Coast, Ainsworth. Holding Gold Coast, Ainsworth.
Yeah, the umpire there, so Ben Ainsworth is going to get the free kick.
It's almost an over-the-shoulder rather than a hold because he was pushing off Houston on the Harvey Norman replay and then elected to turn to the umpire and say, what about me? They may have sold him a nice little lie to the umpire, but this is a big kick in the context of this match.
He's kicked 13 for the season so far. He'll be shooting from 47 metres, Benny Ainsworth. The kick looks on target. Alair goes for a big tap on it, and the umpires are going to confer here. It looks like it's gone through, but did Alair get a finger to it?
I believe it's a behind. Can we see if the ball was touched before it comes away?
Score review. Umpires calls a behind. Post criminal is touched.
Have a look at the replay here, and it looks like Aaliyah, well, he's stretched up magnificently.
He's done it again.
Yeah, he might have just got a fingertip to it. The kick from Ainsworth was good, but geez, Aaliyah, I reckon.
Review complete. Looking at this angle, we can see the ball was touched prior to crossing the back of the goal line. Decision on scoreboard.
There you go, to behind. That is just brilliant work from Aaliyah. Just hit the ring finger nicely by the look of things. So through for a behind. And the Gold Coast Suns edge a little further ahead. So 6-2-38, Port Adelaide 5-3-33, 6-3-39 in fact. So 6 points as we're into time on here, late in the time on in the second term.
So ticking down to half-time. They intercept it here. They go back inside 50, the Suns. Aaliyah in a contest with Casbolt. Ground level. Oh, nice wrap-up tackle by Casbolt. It's a little death roll sort of tackle. And we'll have a ball up in the left forward pocket, city end here for the Suns. There's only 9 seconds left in the opening half. Gold Coast a scoring chance here. Steaming through Anderson. Boat came through. Wines will clear. Ball will bounce. Time sounds. Half-time here at the Adelaide Oval. The Gold Coast leader, really enthralling contest by 6 points. 6-3-39. Port Adelaide a 5-3-33. For RAA around the grounds, Biggles, it's all locked away. At full time, it was level. Thunderbirds and the Swifts, 54 each. They're now into 5 minutes of extra time. And the Swifts lead it by 2 points. 4 minutes 20 to go. 56 to the Thunderbirds, 54. And the other game underway, it's at Marble. It's the Demons and St Kilda. And it's Melbourne by 13 points over the Saints. Early in the third term there. We'll be down to Theo. See what he's got for us at half time. The end of financial year, Bob Jane T-Marts have great buy 3, get 1 free plus instant cash back deals. Call or order online today. T's and C's apply. Suns by 6 points for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M rocks footy.
That quarter for Beacon Trade. Beacon Trade's here to partner with your business by designing your lighting and electrical plans for free. Beacon Trade. Let's make light work.
For Ream Hot Water.
Triple M rocks footy.
Built tough for Aussie conditions. When it comes to water heating, ask your plumber to install a Ream.
You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly.
Shut up! The footy's on the radio!
Triple M rocks footy.
This halftime break for Sterling Homes. Whether your budget is the size of a ruck or a rover, Sterling Homes can design a custom home for you.
Oh, yes, half-time Adelaide Oval, and the Suns lead it by 6 points. 6-3-39 the Gold Coast. Port Adelaide a 5-3-33. For McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, Triple M rocks footy. And it is the half-time break for Sterling Homes. Whether you budget, that's whether your budget is the size of a ruck or a rover, Sterling Homes can design a custom home for you. We got Red Biglands, we got Sean Burgoyne joining us, and boys, as I throw to you, the Thunderbirds are champions. They have got home in extra time by a point. A super goal late in that extra time has got them over the line. But the T-Birds, they are the champions of the netball. They got home by a goal over the Swifts. So what an extraordinary effort by the girls.
Just give us a minute, yeah. Just give me a minute. The Thunderbirds. I can't believe it. I just can't believe it.
How good's that? They haven't been in finals for a number of years, haven't they?
Yeah.
A decade.
A decade, and they get in and they win it.
And here next year, grand final. So can they carry it on, the girls? That's how they go. Pickles. Yeah, but you can just console him in the corner there, Silk. Now, what about this game, boys? I mean, half-time, Suns lead it by 6. Not what a lot of people were expecting coming to this clash tonight. It's been a really enthralling battle, and I want to see what you dig down into it. What are you seeing and what's unfolding here at the moment?
Well, I think the Suns have just brought the pressure and the heat. A lot of their goal sources have come from turning the ball over through pressure and then some good transition plays and kicking goals. And they've got Levi Casbolt up one end, who's negating Aaliyah. When he's not there, King and Lukosius aren't getting the job done. So that just shows you how important that Levi is so far this game.
Yeah, they were getting dictated to at stoppage for a period there, Port Adelaide, and that's purely from wanted work rate from the Suns. Matt Rao has been outstanding with his numbers and his time of ball. No other player has had 6 clearances, and he is dominating with 7. He is just unbelievable with the way he's positioning himself. He's had the most disposals for the Suns, and he's really dragging him along. Now, you would think at some stage Took Miller's going to float through that midfield as well after spending majority of the time up forward. This is where the pressure for Port Adelaide around that mid-contest that Sean was talking about needs to go up a level. They can't rely on outside runners and just free-flowing footy. It's got to get aggressive there.
Silk, centre ball clearance. Port Adelaide has dominated. We've seen Sammy Hayes in against Witt, so that sort of worked out from okay at the moment. But the Gold Coast are able to combat that advantage of Port have got.
Yeah, they have, and they've been able to get their goals off transition. So they may be losing the centre clearances that we've spoken about, but you've got Ballard back there who's intercepting the ball and then getting the ball to ground. They're able to transition the ball through there. So the other matchup I like as well with Sam Collins on Dixon. He's kept him to 4 disposals and no real impact on his 200th game.
Yeah, that is a huge matchup. Fielders bring us that one. It's no doubt that when the ball goes in the area, if they can get rebound and run and switch and drive from their defence, it sets up the Gold Coast. They were destroyed in transition last week when they took on the Pies, and I think they've changed that style of game. They haven't allowed coast-to-coast goals, but they're going to need to maintain it because we know that Port can score quickly like we've seen in recent weeks.
Yeah, that matchup for fielders, if you can imagine it, you can do it with fielders. And so just to back up what you and Biggles were talking about, just that, battle around the clearance, and Biggles, you were talking about they can't rely on the outside run. You just go through the ball winners like on the Red Z Lending stats, Rao down. They've got about eight 8 to 9 guys, about 6 or 7 of those midfielders who are 10 plus. Port Adelaide have got 2 players who have had 10 possessions plus, Ollie Wines and Connor Rosey. So that reflects what you're talking about. They're getting in, they're getting under, they're busy, they're harassing, they're hassling. And the outside run of Rosey, the inside bull of Wines, but then outside of that, they drop away.
You know, that is spot on. I think the mix in there for the Gold Coast Suns, they might need to link up and just run that extra 5 and 10 to get deeper entries, because I think as much as they've been really good and competitive around stoppage, if they can get deeper entries over the top of Alia, that's going to pay big dividends in this game for Gold Coast to win it. Conversely, I think if Port can just dull it down at stoppage, bring it back to a fight, win it there first of all, and then link up with their wings, because that's where I think Port's advantage is. Their wings and drive, they've got such good ball users out there.
Well, they'll try to wear them down on the inside, so they need to get going in that area. But you're right. The good teams, when they transition the ball from their back half to their forward half, they transition the ball through forward handball. They run in waves, and then they kick the ball deeper inside 50. They don't land the ball on top of the arc.
Just watching the game as well, Silk, the space they're getting and they're running in the wave. Are they? Because Port Adelaide, with the way they set up, it doesn't seem to be working that well. They're finding players in a bit of clear room. Does Ken have to tweak something at half-time here?
Well, I think it's more of a mindset. I think it's more of a mindset with their players, and just go back to what they've done over the last 12 or 13 weeks and getting that mojo going.
In your experience, Silk, over the years, when you've had these massive occasions like Port have had last week with a goal after the siren on the Triple MCG and a historic victory, there's a celebration which comes with that. Of course, you've got to celebrate the little wins. But is there any downside to it where, it's tough to get back up for a game like this?
Well, it depends how much it takes out of you, that win. But you normally do your recovery and all those things during the week. But this is where Travis Boak and Ollie Wines and Dicko on his mid-200th game have to get around to the younger guys in the team and talk about, what they've been able to achieve over the last few weeks in terms of momentum, and then come from behind and belief, and make sure they put any of that negative talk or negative thoughts to bed. So this is where your leaders actually get to work in the change rooms.
Either of you guys, Silk or Biggles, believe that Port need a loss, that it won't actually hurt them because they've been up for so long?
No, I don't. I don't think you need a loss. You take each win or each week as it comes, and then you work through that. It hasn't gone to plan so far, and Gold Coast have been tremendous in their energy and their output so far. But I don't think you need to have a loss.
You look at some of the numbers. There's a really impressive article in the Footy Record about teams in the last decade or two that have gone on massive winning streaks and not made the grand final. And you think of the bygone era of Carlton in 05, and Essendon have done it. I think Crows did it in 06, where we went 11 and 12 in a row and didn't make the grand final. I don't think it's a bad thing to have a loss. It really does rattle the cage and opens up spots. And again, there's always pressure for spots, but to try and continually get a side up must be a tough task to sell a message that this is what we're up to next. This is the next step in the challenge.
Well, the pressure's on for spots. Tom Jonas has been in the SNFL for a number of weeks, so if you can drop your captain, you can drop anyone. Ryan Burton's gone back, and there's been other players in and around the team as well. So the pressure is there.
Great insights. Sean Burgoyne and Rhett Biglan's there. Half-time here at the Adelaide Oval. The Gold Coast lead it by 6 points. Theo Doropoulos joins us, made his way up from the boundary for Bob Jane T-Marts. He actually made it up quite swiftly when we said it's extra time in the netball. Gee, did he leg it upstairs to catch the end part of that? What a win by the girls, Theo?
Always keen to jump on board the premiership success. The first time since 2013. I'll be there at the party. Don't worry about that. Fantastic. What scenes we're seeing. The only issue really for Port Adelaide outside of the scoreboard, guys, was the injury to Trent McKenzie. So he went over on that right ankle in that second term. He was straight down, late in the first term rather, subbed out in the second term, straight down to the rooms on crutches. And as we sort of discussed in the first half of this game, the question there is whether it's 1 or 2 weeks, and does it open the door for Tom Jonas to come back in? Quinton Narkle's the sub. He's come on and he's been, as he has done since he's played for Port Adelaide, been pretty exciting, hasn't he? Jai Farah, the unused sub for the Gold Coast Suns.
Good stuff, mate. There he is, Theo Doropoulos for Bob Jane T-Marts. It's the half-time break for Sterling Homes. Whether your budget is the size of a ruck or a rover, Sterling Homes can design a custom home for you. Half-time means clanger time. Our opening half clanger. Who covers clangers on and off the field? Amy does, and here it is in the opening half.
It's the second contest I've seen Lockie Weller tonight not up to the standard. Easily outbodied by someone you wouldn't expect, and he had a one-on-one right in front of the interchange gates where he sort of second-guessed himself. Now, he's been around for 130 games, Weller, but that'd be disappointing from his coach for sure to see that type of contest inside forward 50.
What are the centre bounce clearances on the Red Z Lendings, Biggles?
Come back to you on that one, Yatesy. Questions without notice aren't required here in the Red Z lending stat sheet, please.
So we're back in the middle. Sitting right in front of you there, big fella.
That's the one. 5-zip.
That's what I thought.
How can that be a clanger? That's our producer having a long day, Vinny Shannon, who just... There was 8 million clangers in that game, Vinny, and you pulled out that rubbish.
He just wanted to twist the knife, Biggles. He just wanted to twist away. It's Gold Coast leading by 6 points at half time. Around the grounds, RAA ensured the local team who supports you and your Port Adelaide Football Club. Melbourne and the Saints. It's the Demons by 15 points. It's been a low scorer there. They're well into the third term. 46 Melbourne, 31 St Kilda. And the Thunderbirds are premiers. 60 over the Swifts, 59 in the netball. Suns by 6 points at half time. Back with more after this for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M rocks footy.
That halftime break for Sterling Homes. Whether your budget is the size of a ruck or a rover, Sterling Homes can design a custom home for you.
For Ream Hot Water and McDonald's.
Triple M rocks footy.
Oh, Biggles, you too can get the home ground advantage thanks to Sterling Homes. Mate, when it comes to builders, South Australia is the home ground for Sterling Homes. It has been for over 45 years. So whether your block is the size of a ruck like you or a rover like me, Biggles, Sterling Homes can design a custom home for you.
No doubt about it, Yatesy. If you have a project coming up, big or small, near or far, make sure you get the home ground advantage with Sterling Homes. They've got some crackers on the beachfront at the moment. Visit one of their 12 display villages around Adelaide or visit sterlinghomes.com.au.
You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly.
Shut up! The footy's on the radio!
Triple M rocks footy.
This quarter for Titanium Caravans. Titanium Caravans are built to tackle Australia's toughest conditions. Visit titaniumcaravans.com.au.
Saturday night footy, and it's half-time. Suns lead it by 6 points, 6-3-39. Port Adelaide a 5-3-33 for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M rocks footy. We're about to tumble into our Titanium Caravans third quarter. You want to go anywhere? You'll need Australia's toughest off-road caravan. Titanium Caravans are purpose-built to tackle Australia's uncompromising conditions. They have everything you need to stay off-grid and off-road for longer. Look no further than a Titanium Caravan. Visit titaniumcaravans.com.au. The Suns by 6 points over Port Adelaide. Biggles and Silk, have you noticed any quick change before we get underway in the third term as you peer out there over this great stadium?
Yeah, so Wellers, he was the questionable matchup we spoke about. So he's going to sit on Sam Powell-Pepper and try to sit in that hole. And of course, the dangerous forwards of Port Adelaide, Mac Andrews been doing a great job so far on Marshall, but Marshall can still break a game open, can't he?
Yeah, he can. And the other matchup I'm looking at now is Ainsworth versus Ollie Wines on the wing. So Ollie obviously wants to play more on ball, but knows he has to play in different positions. So that's the only structural change I can see at the moment.
Gold Coast leading by 6 points here to start the second half. Adelaide Oval, we've only had the one win against Port back in 2011. Never won here at the Adelaide Oval. The Gold Coasters Butters gets the first clearance for Port Adelaide. They've dominated the centre bounce clearance for the whole game so far. Horn Francis at half forward can't get clean possession. There's Wines, the man they spoke about, just come down from the wing. Off the deck was Powell-Pepper, swing and a miss. Hurried kick comes from the Gold Coast in defence. Holman was the target. Punch came from Houston, close to the line. He's put out of the way, just thrown away as Anderson gets his kick, looking for Lukosius. Bounce doesn't favour him. Alier with it at half-back. He's under pressure, gives it off to Williams.
So Williams for Port Adelaide. And Burn-Jones able to stand up. Weller fell over again. Here's Drew, front edge of the centre square. A nice poker inside 50. Marshall steaming out full-chested. Took a very, very nice mark.
There's that ball from Drew Silk. Wouldn't you love leading to that? Little bow wrapped around the present, right on the lips of Marshall. Sensational little ball.
Well, the Burn-Jones mark, contested mark on the wing, and then the forward handball. So not kicking the ball from too far back. Forward handball, run it over, and then the Drew kick.
Sean Burgoyne and Rhett Biglands tonight for C-Bus Super. This is a big kick for Marshall to level it all up. City end goal. He likes it off the boot. He's got two for the night. And we are locked away early on in this third term. It's the Suns, 6-3-39. It's Port Adelaide, 6-3-39 on the Triple M Titanium Caravan scoreboard. Titanium Caravans are built to tackle Australia's toughest conditions. Visit titaniumcaravans.com.au. Rhett Biglands and Sean Burgoyne.
Well, we know Port Adelaide finish games off really strongly. So that's a given over the last 10 or 12 weeks. But it's going to be interesting to see how Gold Coast react now. They're in front by a lot more that they're not now. Port are having a run at them. Can they withstand it, and can their leaders get around to the younger guys, Biggles?
And they can't drop that pressure around the footy. If you let Horn Francis and Butters and Rosie around the ball get their tails up and their run and their drive, they're going to beat you on the outside every time. So they've got to match them at ground level around stoppage.
The McDonald's and Ream Hot Water Triple M rocks footy. Marshall with his second after kicking just a one behind last week. Back in the centre of the ground. Kick comes from Anderson. Clearance under pressure. Farrell takes the mark at half-back for Port Adelaide. That left foot just pumps it forward. It goes okay. They're able to move forward from Burn-Jones. His kick is outstanding, and the mark is taken by Big Charlie. 30 out, tight angle.
Remarkable how Burn-Jones can really swing, isn't it, Silk? To be one of the best All-Australian defenders. Now across half-forward, Kenny's seen something in him. Nice spot up.
Well, Big Charlie, he's had the 3 kicks, the 1 handball, hasn't had a look at the goals yet. 65 games with the Suns, now 200 tonight for Port Adelaide. And the big fella steers it through, gives a big right arm bicep pose. He's got a goal. Port Adelaide are out by 6 points, 7-3-45. Gold Coast 6-3-39. Titanium Caravans scoreboard.
You are right. He would have feeling a lot better about himself now kicking a goal. But back onto Burn Jones. He was probably a bit out of form in the back line at the start of the year, and he's too good of a player not to have in the team. So kind of, where do you find a place for him? And he's got elite endurance. He's tough. He wants to tackle, put pressure on, so they swing him forward, and he's able to develop that part of his game. So now he can play either end of the field.
That's 2 big score involvements he's had as well to get Port back in the match. The first contested mark, which you spoke about, and that switch and run and ball movement via Burn Jones, and great ball use to put on the chest of Dicko.
And what about Farrell from half-back? That big launch to get it to Burn Jones in the first place. He's been terrific back there for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M Rocks footy. Port Adelaide have got the lead. They're out by a goal. They get the first 2 goals of the third term. Butters out of the middle, went sideways to Wines, who, as Sean Burgoyne picked up, starts on the wing in this third quarter. Powell Pepper, too strong. He was able to edge Powell under it. Got a pretty vacant 52. There's a bit of space. Have a look. That's leading into it. There was Finlayson, and all into his back was Andrew. Advantage is paid. Goal has been kicked by Burn Jones, was it? And we have a lead to Port Adelaide of 2 goals. There's a bit of arguing still going on the Harvey Norman replay, but Finlayson let out. Andrew was all over him. Ollie Wine's not happy with the treatment that Finlayson copped. And the Harvey Norman replay, just getting a look at it now. So Powell was too strong there for Powell Pepper. Hot deals on technology now at Harvey Norman. Say hello to big savings on mobiles and audio. Hurry, it's a limited time only. And it was Burn Jones in the square who sent it through. Port, they lead it by 12 points.
Well, the Port boys are just giving Andrew just some feedback around his body slam in the back.
It's constructive feedback.
So that's just what that was all about. But Burn Jones just played it out. Got an easy goal over the back, and he's on fire, you would think, right now.
5 minutes into this second half, Marshall, Dixon, Burn Jones all with goals, and Darcy has been terrific, having a key part in them. Rosie gets it, gives a little handball to Houston. He just arches the back, goes forward, long kick. Marshall goes back, couldn't take it, as well as Finlayson. Hurried kick goes forward from Weller, only as far as Drew, so he's going to shoot from 50. Weller's having a mare, isn't he?
Yeah, he might need extended spell just to gather his thoughts. Weller, it's cost him at least 2 goals.
Well, Willem Drew goes with a kick. Oh, coming forward, trying to take the mark was Wines. Bounced off that big, ample chest of his. High ball comes up for the Suns, and the mark's taken by Rao inside the defensive 50.
So 12-point lead to Port Adelaide. Rao works it to the outer side. Alir and Casbolt in a little battle. Oya got it across. Fiorini to Anderson. Around the body up to half forward, Lukosius and Jones. Bergman was the third man in. Nice little handball. Came from Farrell to Alir. Came off the side of the boot. And Anderson for the Suns takes the mark just forward of centre wing on the outer side.
Miller has been inside 50 without an opponent. Took Miller for the Suns for at least 6 minutes. No one is paying him any respect. Port are backing themselves in to win it across the back of the edge of the centre square.
Anderson to Holman. Oh, Casbolt just pushes Alir into the ball. Alir couldn't take the mark. Still in the defensive 50 for Port Adelaide. Little handball comes out. High ball from Humphrey. Oh, this is a beautiful kick. He's kicked it from 40 on a big angle. Massive goal from Bailey Humphrey. That is a ripper for the Gold Coast to get one back. 7-3-45. They're back within a straight kick. 8-3-51. Port Adelaide Titanium Caravan scoreboard.
That's a cracking goal, isn't it?
Oh.
That's a wet ball. 45 out on the wrong side for a right footer. Bends it the other way. That's an outstanding goal.
The class of this year's draft group who are playing in this season is just incredible how much talent they've got. Humphrey with a quick gather. We talked about the raps on him and why they wanted to sign him so quickly, just to give it enough height. And he celebrated as well. Went over to the old scoreboard and realised I haven't got a supporter there, but I'll still give him a double fist bump.
Oh, great stuff. Red Bigland's there with Sean Burgoyne for Seabus Super. Seabus Super making hard work pay off. Port Adelaide by 6 points for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M Rocks footy. Dixon having a bit of a time of it in the ruck. Got it down to Butters inside 50, looking for Marshall. It spat over the back. Here's, he just got the handball away in the nick of time. It's Pal Pepper. He was hemmed against the boundary. Finlayson was doing some work in tight quarters, and we'll have it tossed in. City end about 35 around from the Powers goal.
Butters streaming out of that centre bounce, just needed a forward to come at him. No one in front of him, no forward led at him, so he had to kick it to a pocket to a forward running backwards.
Port Adelaide by a goal. Whitson, Finlayson, the ladder throws him out the way, then goes with a little left foot kick going over the top. Marshall's clever, passes it to Burne-Jones. That was magnificent, but he kicks at the post. Magnificent work, wasn't it? Jeez, he's clever, Marshall, but Burne-Jones couldn't finish off the dynamic work. So Port Adelaide 7 points up on the titanium scoreboard.
He's done a little tap to himself, Marshall, and then a 1 metre kick, which was incredible. Burne-Jones, what a talent he is, Marshall.
Extraordinary on the Harvey Norman replay. Houston with the ball, the fans want him to go for home. He's about 65 out. He goes short to Butters. Of course, he launched that big long one last week to get him over the line. Butters. So he's going to go short. Gee, just left by himself. Houston, who kicked it to him, has been left in front of goal. He'll let it rip from 52. He'll have a crack this time, surely.
Just poor manning up from Gold Coast. They just fell asleep. And Port Adelaide's biggest kicker in the team just stands on the 50 all by himself.
They're finding voice as well, the supporters. Triple M Red Z lending stats. The Freeze 4, 13-8. They're getting their cage rattled by the men in lime green. They're appealing for everything.
So Houston, from 56 metres, launches a big, long goal. What about that from Houston? He loves it too on the Harvey Norman. And that's a big goal in the context of this quarter. Quarter out by 13 after trailing by 6 at half-time. It's 58 Port, 45 Suns. Triple M Titanium Caravan scoreboard. Titanium Caravans are built to tackle Australia's toughest conditions. Visit titaniumcaravans.com.au. Sean Burgoyne and Rhett Biglan's on Triple M footy.
It's a big goal, but it's just attention to detail for Gold Coast. So Ainsworth went with him and just left him standing all by himself. That's what makes you a good team, when you pay attention to the small things. And the small thing is just go man up the spare player.
Almost a bit in that from Houston, saying last week wasn't a fluke, boys. I'm just about to show you how to do it again. Incredible kick.
There was a carbon copy. His confidence is high, as is Charlie Dixon's in the centre. Gives it to Rosie. He just sprints, just hacks the ball forward though. Powell has it in defence. McAndrew was his target. Comes back to Marshall, just goes with a little scrubbing kick, trying to go to the top of the square. Powell, under all sorts of pressure, gets a handball. Finally, the Suns get themselves out of trouble just as far as Wines intercepts, gives it to Dixon. The centre wing goes to half forward, and the mark's been taken by Marshall. Nice lead up, 65 out.
He's been busy, Marshall. He's got it, as Soda said, just a bit too far out. He kicked it into the man on the mark, Collins. Ainsworth handball to Holman under some Burton pressure. He's tackled out of play right underneath the Foss Williams stand on the eastern side of the ground.
5 marks to Marshall for his 7 disposals and 2 snags, thanks to Triple M Red Z Lending.
Red Z Lending, loans for the self-employed. REDZED.com. So Dixon having a bit of an extended run in the ruck. Dished off a handball, got it to Butters again. He's able to work a bit of magic. He came off the instep, tumbler inside 50. Boundary line, G. Marshall almost kept that in. And we'll have it thrown in.
As good as he is, Butters, he just got the ball in traffic and does a massive U-turn like a semi-trailer does. And you got Connor Rosie and Quinton Narkle both there for the handball, facing goals. You can kick a nice drop punt.
4 goals to 1 Port Adelaide's way, 12 and a half gone in the third term. So it is Port by 13 points. Ball thrown into their attacking 50 area. Comes out from Finlayson to Rioli on the outside of the boot, and he just can't craft it through. So another behind for the Power. They're out by 14 points. Titanium Caravan scoreboard.
That small forward line is such a well-held spot for Port Adelaide, because we've got Razio Fantasia in the 2 still trying to knock on the door. Jed McEntee has been performing admirably all year, holding down that spot. Of course, when we see Junior Rioli having impact, it's tougher spots in the Port lineup.
Gee, that was a borderline 50 there for the Suns. we'll get back to that in a minute. Here's King and Aaliyah. King once again just to ground. Dixon doing some work back there. Oya trying to come through for the Suns. Houston, here's Lockie Jones for Port Adelaide. High ball, up and under. Humphrey just bounced off his chest. He's got the free though. So you heard the umpires mic'd up exclusively for Triple M. He was whacked over the shoulder and he's going to get a long ball in. He wants it deep. It's a big contest here. King being held. There was a big fist from the side. Jones and Dixon there. And it's a minor score. So the Power lead it by 13 on the Triple M Titanium Caravan scoreboard. 59-46.
Kane Farrell, designated kicker, as just pops it out to Butters. Farrell supports to go past, and he just gets it off. Little high ball. Narkle's got to go up against Powell over the top. Ellis goes along with Burne-Jones off the deck. Clever little kick. Finlayson goes hard against McAndrew, belts it into the way of Darcy Burne-Jones, who tunnel balls it to Powell Pepper. McEntee comes through. They've been able to pick up about 40 metres by smacking it along the ground. And a free kick is going to go the way of the Gold Coast.
High contact, Gold Coast.
There you hear the umpire there against Powell Pepper. It's going to go to Brandon Ellis at half-back.
Porter absolutely destroying him in this third term. Double the amount of disposals. Really getting on the end of it. And their transition, using the ball more effectively, Gold Coast have to find a way to get hold of the footy.
Brett Bigland's there with Sean Burgoyne tonight for Seabus Super. Lukosius pulls the trigger with a long ball. Williams at the back for Port Adelaide. Stepped around two very nicely. Then he got it around the body very well to Burton. Backward to centre wing. Out of side here. 13-point lead, Port Adelaide. The game really in the balance right now. Houston, who kicked a ripping goal from 56 metres only minutes ago. He's going to put a long ball to the top of the 50, but it's ill-directed. And Ellis able to come in there and take a mark for the Suns.
Chips it over to McPherson, who hasn't got anywhere to go at the moment, so he just decides to come across to the broadcast side to Collins. Had a big first half, did a good job on Charlie Dixon, although Charlie's really worked his way into the game, into the second half. Collins' kick cut off by Burne-Jones. It was dangerous going into the corridor. Finlayson gives it to Narkle. He's right on 50. High ball from the sub, and it's good. The crowd love it. Port Adelaide get their fifth goal for the quarter. They're now out by 19 points. 10-5-65. Gold Coast 7-4-46. Titanium Caravan scoreboard.
Really good goal by Narkle. Come onto the subs, trying to cement his place in the team and kicks a really good goal. But just want to go back to Sam Collins. You mentioned it, Biggles. They're under the pump. Porter smashing him with disposals. Got the ball in the half-back flank. The right thing to do would be just kick it down the line to Casbolt and take it out, not go for a risky kick inside and turn it over. It's your time where you have to show a bit of leadership.
4 of the 5 goals in this term, Silk, you're right, have come from turnovers. Just don't allow them possess the footy. Don't give them a look at it. The pressure's gone up. That turnover's going to kill you, and it was such a risky kick, and the penalty's huge. Now the margin sits at 19.
The McDonald's and Ream Hot Water Triple M Rocks footy back in the middle. Hayes got up high, got all over Wits there. Humphrey for the Suns. Got it to Flanders. Atkins peeling off the back of the square for the Suns. Sends a ball to half forward. Free kick. Now is that going against Aliir? Yep, so it's holding Casbolt. So Levi a fair way up. Have to let it go from just on 50.
Where he's just got to go back now and take his time and kick the goal.
It's a big difference when Casbolt gets a one-on-one with Aliir. Aliir's had 7 intercept possessions tonight. Majority of those are when Casbolt is not on him, gone in the ruck or on the bench.
He's kicked 2 tonight, Casbolt. It was at this end of the ground, but a bit closer in, and he's pulled that big time. He's missed everything, maybe. He has. So it's out of bounds on the full at the Cathedral end. Port Adelaide to get the footy. They lead by 19.
Ryan Burton has it in the back pocket. He's got some support from Drew, who leads up. He gives it to him, and Burton wants it on the way back, but decides to come across to Williams, who can play on here. Oh, Miller, good tackle. Couldn't stick it though. Williams able to get around on his left. Goes long over the head of McEntee. Powell Pepper going off the deck was McEntee. He missed it. Nice pick up from Anderson. One-hander, then just goes with a high ball. Willem Drew couldn't take the mark, but free kick's going to go Port Adelaide's way. It's going against Swallow. Going to go to Burton for shepherding.
Gets it to Powell Pepper. Forward to centre wing. Third term. Played nearly 19 minutes. Dixon! Ripping mark. That was a beautifully judged kick too by Powell Pepper. And Dixon, basically where the 50 joins the boundary at the city end.
You can see it so often in footy clubs, those players that have strong connections. You talked about Finlayson and Powell Pepper being good mates. So just knew Powell Pepper wanted Dicko. He looked at him, he waved off Travis Boak. Even though Dicko was wide, he was going to him because he was a good mate.
These biceps will bulge out of his arm if he nails this, Big Dixon. He's missed that away to the right. And it's out of bounds on the full.
Well, the ball went exactly on his running route. He went hard right on the boundary line and the ball went hard right.
How good was it having Kenny Hinkley in the pre-game talking about who Charlie Dixon should mentor going forward? He said, no one. He used to live with Cornsey, didn't he? That's a bad combo, Chad Corns and Charlie Dixon living together. Imagine what those two got up to.
They were weights partners, I know that.
Well, they love a bit of bicep action.
Powell Pepper has it from 60. Just goes with a long ball. Oh, wow! That is an absolute ball buster. Brilliant kick from Sam Powell Pepper. Port Adelaide are out by 25 points. 11-5-71 Gold Coast. 7-4-46. Huge momentum swing for the Power on the Titanium Caravan scoreboard.
He's kicked the barrel. It's on the run barrel. You don't see that often, do you, Biggles? On the run barrels.
Gonna love it. Took it inside. Probably from 65, some great call, Soda, and then lined up the barrel, just a twist in the rotation of the Sharon.
What about the work of Marshall, Biggles?
Oh yeah, nice little saucepan to the throat on now Brandon Ellis on the boundary line. Did he just get him straight across the chops?
Well, they're flexing now, Port Adelaide. They have come out to play in this third term.
66 starting one. Okay.
A warning for the Suns on the 666.
Real good.
It took Miller an excuse. He's been out for a long time.
Still don't know why we have warnings for that. Rule's been in for nearly 3 years as the ball spills around. Handball out of the middle. Goes forward. Oya tried to gather, couldn't. Williams, he's been solid back there tonight when he's been under pressure. Taps it out this time. Humphrey and Aaliyah in a contest. Casbolt, he just hovers over the pair. Williams again. Got the handball out to Burton. Here's Ollie Wines. Around the body. Gets it out of that defensive 50 for Port Adelaide. Powell Pepper was lurking around fresh off that ripping goal. And it's out of play under the Jack Oatey stand at half forward here for the Suns. Port Adelaide by 25.
Players getting a stack of the footy at the moment. Noel Anderson continuing his ripping year on the Triple M Reds End leading stats with 21 disposals. Rowell with 17. Ollie Wines leading possession getter for the Power with 17.
Gold Coast just swung around. The veteran, great tackle by Boak on Rowell. The crowd want the free kick. They're not going to get it. It was on Anderson, in fact. Let's head down to Bob Jane Teammates, Theodoropoulos.
So the Gold Coast about to make their sub. Jai Farah coming on. Ben King's night is done.
Rightio, Ben King. He's had a pretty quiet couple of weeks. Taken to task by Darcy Moore and then had a bad night tonight as Boat comes forward with a kick. Marshall was in a good spot. Oh, he's clever. Tapped it with a right-hander knuckle. Goes to Finlayson, tried to squeeze a little kick. Wasn't effective. Mac Andrew, high ball back out to the broadcast wing. Oya, he's got support from Miller. Running past, good kick to Lukosius, bounced off the chest.
And Lockie Jones gave him a bit of a mouthful too as he ran by. Now Hayes squared it nicely to Bergman. Here's Narkle. He's running and bouncing and going again. He goes inside 50. Put it to the contest to Marshall. Powell Pepper steaming through. Marshall had to get out of his way. Boundary line is there. 25 around City End will have it thrown in. Port lead it by 25 on the Triple M Titanium Caravan scoreboard.
back on to Ben King. He's had a really disappointing night, hasn't he? One disposal. The team needs him to stand up, so he's a logical choice to be subbed.
Yeah, Levi Casbolt's been pretty much a lone hand up forward for them, particularly in that first term, but haven't had a lot since as Witts leads Dixon to the ball, gives it to McPherson. Clearing kick, going back with Swallow, couldn't take it. Williams, he's under pressure from Farah, the sub, who's just come on. Nice little give to Rosie McAndrew. They intercept mark in front of Boat.
Well, they talk about twins having some sort of connection between each other. This is next level because Max King and Ben King have both been subbed out tonight. How do they get that sort of mental connection going away? Max King subbed out of the Saints game with shoulder injury. That's ridiculous.
Spooky stuff, Biggles. As Farah goes inside 50, so he comes on, makes an impact. He took a nice contested mark to get that possession, and it is out of play. Gee, he looks forlorn on the bench, doesn't he, Big Ben King?
He does. Well, Max had the 0 disposals and Ben's had the 1.
Wow. How do they get that sort of stuff going across borders?
Telepathic is all they say.
Unbelievable.
When you're in the same sack of fluid Biggles for 9 months, you sort of tell each other a few little things. Ball spills around. Here's Boak. Got the handball out. Anderson for the Suns. Inside 50. Ball spills out. Opportunity here for Jones, and he clears it there for Port Adelaide.
Only going as far as Atkins, who sits under it. So Rory's got it. Played 101 games with the Crows. He knows this ground well. Goes forward, looking for some support, but standing in the way.
How good was that?
Miles Bergman, that was just courageous silk. Jeez, he's having a great year.
He is. How good was that? Coming across knowing you're going to cop Levi's knee to the ribs. That's courageous.
So, what are Bergman's numbers on the Red Z lending stats, boys? He's been playing taller, as we spoke about earlier on. He goes down the line. It's one of those questions without notice, Biggles. Hopefully it doesn't get you too frothy as the ball spills around. Centre wing out of side.
Sorry, I'm still on the same second.
Here's Holman.
Fluid.
He's working on the outer side. Burton got boot to ball. Here's an opportunity. Houston, nice little pickup. Now Port Adelaide, they're running. And just had to get past that Suns blockage, which was Witts. He put a nice tackle on. Ballard went in. Powell Pepper came in and wrapped him up. Not before he got the ball away. And Weller. Oh, gee, something's happened here to... I reckon it's Marshall.
Slipped.
He's not happy with something here. We're going to keep an eye on that.
I thought he might have hurt his knee, I reckon, when he slipped.
I reckon you're right. He just grabbed that sort of... Right, is it? Or... Yeah, we'll keep an eye on that anyway. Port have been able to win the footy at half-back, and here's Rioli.
Well, he was running backwards and he went to come forward for the ball, and I think he just slipped.
Good news for Marshall. He's back on his feet, so he looks okay for the moment as Rioli has it. Broadcast side on the wing goes up. Finlayson couldn't take it. Horn Francis has got a chance. He couldn't take it away from Noah Anderson. Atkins. McEntee threw himself at the rat, but he couldn't stop him. But Atkins' kick's terrible. He's put it out in the full. So Rioli, who's been impressive in his return, Farrell just comes off the ground, gets a handball, goes long with the left foot, looking for Finlayson, but strong hands was Powell Pepper. He's taken a mark. He's already kicked an absolute bomb of a goal this term, and he's a lot closer now. He'll be on a tight angle, but he's 30 out, Powell Pepper.
Good team play there by Rioli. You mentioned Farrell, who came on. He could kick the ball an extra 15, 20 metres further.
Powell Pepper's handball to his mate, Finlayson. Oh, from 40 out, he's got around the corner. Jeremy's kicked the first one to start the night, and now he's kicked another. That is a ripper in game number 100.
While I was talking about Farrell kicking that ball further, you could see Powell Pepper standing there, and you could see Finlayson saying to him, I'm a left footer, because he's on the right, the perfect spot for a left footer to snap. You could see him talking to him, give me the ball, and he does. Again, it's attention to detail. The Gold Coast defenders should know he's a left footer, and if he's sniffing around over there, go stand on him.
What about the bromance after the goal? Powell Pepper and Finlayson, they cuddled for 10 minutes. Hey, there's some super love out there. That's what coaches love to see, the care for your teammate.
Well, apart from the guy who's on the mark who has to stand so he can't move, someone else has to come in and man up with Finlayson.
Yeah, that was Ballard's frustration, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Boys, give us a hand.
So This is what happens when you get a team toward the top.
6-6 free kick.
Versus a team who's sort of still trying to find their way. So that's a 6-6-6 free kick. They had the warning, now the free. So Port with it. Hayes goes with a long ball inside 50. Finlayson a little tap down to Burn-Jones. Ballard for the Suns. Tried to get it out, only as far as Wines. Port by 31. Ollie pokes it inside 50. Finlayson trying to work back on it. Collins there, boundary line. And right forward pocket, City end. We will have it thrown in. Fill up at full time with Macca's Angus Range. Good stuff there.
When there's consecutive goals as well, normally your leaders come in and have some sort of voice to say how they're going to go about stopping it. Coaches can't do a lot from the boundary line. It needs to be the leaders on field to stop the rot and find a way to not have multiple goals scored quickly.
Yeah, right, because the runner can only go out now after goals. So they can't get out there, pretty much to stem play.
Gold Coast by 11 points at quarter time, 6 points at half time. Port Adelaide have kicked 7 goals to 1 in this third term as Rioli just tries to paddle it forward. Comes out to Rosie, tries to work his way through, goes for something miraculous. Tried to create something out of nothing, just put it out in the full.
And this is where the leaders earn their money, don't they, Biggles? In crunch times, when the game's on the line, younger players are looking for it.
They've responded to whatever Ketty said at half-time. They really came out breathing fire, Port Adelaide. They've put a space between themselves and the Suns now. It's 31 points. Williams wins it back for Port Adelaide. Puts it inside 50. Rioli, little toe poke. Burn-Jones the same. And now just Horne-Francis trying to gather. Rowell came in. Oh, gee, I'm not sure what that was. That was out of the... not sure what textbook. Now Farrell inside 50. Powell Pepper's out. Big fist late. Came from Atkins, and it is out of play. We'll have it thrown in at the City end. Of course, we've got Theodoropoulos tonight, Bob Jane T-Marts, end of financial year. Bob Jane T-Marts have great buy 3, get 1 free plus instant cash back deals. Call or order online today. T's and C's apply.
30 and a half minutes gone in this third term. Port Adelaide staring at win number 13 on the trot, right in the face. Oh, Connor Rosie from the boundary line. He has just manufactured some magic. That is a ripping kick and dribbles it through. Port Adelaide get their 8th for the quarter. They're now out by 37 points, 13-5-83. Gold Coast 7-4-46. Titanium Caravan scoreboard.
The loose checking at that stoppage was ridiculous, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Because Powell Pepper first sat on the boundary line and had about 3 acres to work in. He then sells it to the Gold Coast Suns that he's not going near the footy. They bring it to the front, and then Rosie just kicks one of the goals of the year.
There's just a basic breakdown in structure. You always have a defensive sweeper as well. There was no sweeper there either for them. So, like I said, they weren't manning up, and they didn't have their structure set in place. And that is a special goal from Connor Rosie.
Demanded a high 10 from a Port Adelaide supporter who wasn't prepared to get up out of his seat. You've got to celebrate that stuff. What a goal from Rosie. No daylight to dribble it through. Wowee.
I reckon that supporter was centre undercover. We're back in the middle for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M Rocks footy. Out of the middle go the power again. They are really streaming at the moment. Now a little bobble around back there, Atkins for the Suns. Got boot to ball. Nice mark taken in the end by Ainsworth. It's across half back. And Ainsworth goes down the line. Going to be a contest here. Williams work to the front. Fiorini wrapped up by Powell Pepper right in front of us here in the Triple M commentary box, and Port Adelaide by 37 points on the Triple M Titanium Caravan scoreboard.
It's been a huge third quarter by the home side as Dixon whacks it out towards Butters, combines with Rosie. Nice pick up by Wines, who's been solid, started the game really well. Finlayson goes for a little double-handed slap across his head. Burn-Jones wanted and deliberate, and he's got it.
On the line, Braden.
Wow.
I'd like to see the Harvey Norman replay on that.
Could have easily argued Fiorini was trying to tap it to the advantage of his teammate.
Ollie Wines goes up into the Marshall territory. He's got 2 to beat, including Mac Anderson. Rioli gives it back to Marshall. Dixon fires a handball. Oh, no. Again. It's Travis Boak. Oh, he's kicked it around the corner. Port Adelaide are just running away with this. They're now out by 43 points, 14-5-89.
Gold Coast 7-4, 46 Titanium Caravan scoreboard.
It's just become far too easy. Gold Coast have given up now. 9 goals 2 to 1 goal 1. The inside 50s this quarter 22 to 10. That's just pure, pedestrian, caravanning your players and not being proactive, not wanting to hunt.
Even around that ball when it was being flipped 30 out from goal, the Gold Coast players were looking like they were stuck in second gear. No one had any urgency to shut down whoever had the ball.
Brett Biglands and Sean Burgoyne, and terrific description. Port Adelaide, they have really opened up now. The afterburners are on. They're out by 43 points. They were down at half-time for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M Rocks footy. Wits wrapped up by Drew. Siren. What a quarter of footy. The faithful stand up and applaud their team. They lead it by 43 points at three-quarter time, the Power. Around the grounds for RAA. Earlier today it was Brisbane by 81 over the Eagles. The Giants got home by 13 points over the Hawks. And the Demons lead it with about 8 or 9 minutes to go in the final term there by 20 points over the Saints. Three-quarter time here at the Adelaide Oval. It's Port by 43, and the Thunderbirds are premiers, 60 to 59 over the Swifts in the netball grand final. The Ashes, they had a bit of a rain delay, so that'll be getting underway soon. Port by 43 points for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M Rocks footy.
That quarter, the Titanium Caravans. Titanium Caravans are built to tackle Australia's toughest conditions. Visit titaniumcaravans.com.au.
For McDonald's,
Triple M Rocks footy.
fill up at full time with the Macca's Angus range.
You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll be back shortly. You're listening to Triple M Footy across the Triple M network. We'll We'll be back shortly.
Shut up! The foot is on the radio!
Triple M rocks footy.
This quarter for Beacon Trade. Beacon Trade's here to partner with your business by designing your lighting and electrical plans for free. Beacon Trade, let's make light work.
Three-quarter time, Adelaide Oval. What a quarter that was by Port Adelaide. 43 points in front at three-quarter time. It's 14-5-89. The Suns are 7-4-46 for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M rocks footy. Theo Doropoulos for Bob Jane T-Muts.
Yada, both sides have activated their subs. Of course, if you're just joining us in the first quarter, Trent McKenzie went down with an ankle injury. Quinton Huckle has replaced him and been pretty good, it must be said. Jai Farah has come on for the Suns halfway through that third term. It's been a dirty night for Ben King. He was subbed out halfway through that third quarter.
This end of financial year, Bob Jane T-Marts have great buy three, get one free, plus instant cash back deals. Call or order online today. T's and C's apply. Brett Bigland, Sean Burgoyne. Gee, the power stepped it up and the Suns fell off a cliff.
Oh, it's just insane how good that third term was for Port Adelaide. So, of those 9 goals they kicked, 6 were from turnover. Their clearance work went to another level, 13-5. And inside 50s, they dominated those as well, 50-37. It's so much more run than the Gold Coast Suns, didn't they, Silk?
Plus 20 in contested possession as well, which is a mindset thing. So Gold Coast were just reduced to a walking in the end of that quarter. They just wanted to get to the three-quarter siren and then regroup. But Port are full of power, and I'm expecting them to work on another 5 or 6 goals to 0 in this last quarter.
It's almost like everything that the Gold Coast worked for them in the first half went the other way in that third term.
Yep.
They didn't have the intensity, no pressure, no speed at it. And that's what got them in the game in the first half. So let's hope they can bounce back here. Otherwise, this margin could get ugly.
Rhett Biggles and Sean Burgoyne, Triple M Seabus Super special comments. Seabus Super making hard work pay off. Port Adelaide leading by 43 points. They've won 12 on the trot, and they are the best fourth quarter team in the comp. They've won 11 of their 15 final terms. The Gold Coast have won just a third of theirs. Right now, Sammy Hayes goes up against Whitson. Hayes wins the tap to Rosie. He's under pressure from Miller, and the umpire said, give me another crack at it.
I like how the umpire blew that whistle really quickly to prevent the going to ground and potential dump tackle.
This is Witts down to Miller, and Butters comes out to Rosie. Able to just pinch it off the back of them. Quick go from Flanders. Turnover, so an opportunity for Gold Coast, and Lukosius leads up. 60 out has it. So a promising start in this last term by Gold Coast. Lukosius's kick. Alia getting himself in a front position. Butters sweeping handball to Boak. And the veteran goes long. Atkins one-on-one with Burn-Jones. A little kick off the air came from Boak, and it goes out of bounds.
Probably the most disappointing thing for the Suns tonight, I would have thought, is their one-on-one contests. When they've really needed that, and they know how strong Port are in that area, they just haven't had the players that have stood up in one-on-ones.
Brett Biglands and Sean Burgoyne for Seabus tonight. Hayes got the tap down, but straight to Miller. The Suns are inside 50. Now Farah. He's been lively since he came on. Got it across to Rowell. A nice ball to Casbot. Oh, free kick. It's advantage, so it's a goal, is it? Oh, yep, gets the goal. So margin back to 37 points for the Port Adelaide Footy Club. And Oyer gets the first goal of the final term. It's 14-5-89 Port, 7-4-46 Suns. Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard. Beacon Trade's here to partner with your business by designing your lighting and electrical plans for free. Beacon Trade. Let's make light work. Sean Burgoyne, Rhett Biglands, Triple M Footy.
Oyer's been lively up forward. He's been one of the few guys who has tried to put pressure on when he can. And the ball wasn't in there in the third quarter for him to put pressure on. But he's been lively and he's rewarded with a goal.
He's had 9 disposals. Thanks to Triple M Red Z Landing for his first goal, and got his first goal in AFL versus Collingwood as well, when there was only 3 or 4 goal kickers. So you're right, he's provided a spark tonight after starting on the interchange.
Back to 37 points. Triple M rocks footy, and Little tap down from Hayes, only goes as far as Anderson. Oya in there against Narkle. The 247s go at it. Comes back to Miller. He just hacks the ball forward. Boak did well. Was in front of Flanders. Went with a double fister. Narkle gives it to Farrell into the centre of the ground. Collins couldn't take it. Burne-Jones, handball to McEntee. Boak coming through the centre. Long kick. In a good position was Marshall. Couldn't take it. Finlayson comes to him, goes around the corner. He's having a great night, but he hits the post.
That's Travis Boak's work right there. He got the ball defensive 50, 45 out from his own goal, and he's the one who's kicking the ball inside his own forward 50.
Wouldn't mind seeing the Harvey Norman replay on the Marshall setup. How he didn't get a free there as the Suns out of half back. And it works out in the Oya direction. Houston there with him. He's surrounded. Oya did very well. As Silk told us, he's been lively, and he was exactly that there. Inside 50, Aaliyah in a contest with Casbolt. Ball spills, Lukosius gathers, lines it up, and he's missed. He's missed from point blank. Now Aaliyah's down behind play here. He's struggling to get to his feet.
I think that's 105 kilo of Casbolt just destroying him as he crashed into him, really. I think he's going to gather his breath. Be okay.
It's fair from Casbolt. He's done that a couple times tonight, which is what you want your big guys doing. He competed for the ball, but somehow Gold Coast had a 2v1 in their own forward line. I'm not sure where Lukosius' opponent was. It's a missed opportunity.
Aaliyah was crunched by King in that first term, was able to come back. He looks all right for the moment, so he's up next to Casbolt. Mark taken by Marshall, gives a little handball. Here's a chance now for Houston. Vision is terrific. Kick is outstanding. Burne-Jones doesn't have to break stride. Goes into the attacking 50. Delivers the ball magnificently. And Finlayson strong hands in front of Mac Andrew.
He's going to have to be up there in the Triple MVP voting. Sean Burgoyne in control of them tonight. I think he's been brilliant.
He's been good. But you see the connection between the kicker and the leader. Finlayson held his lead, pointed where he wanted the ball, and Burne-Jones puts it right where he wants it.
He's kicked 2-2, Finlayson. He kicked the goal from a similar sort of position at the other end when his mate Pal Pepper handballed. He's going to go around the corner on his left foot, and he just had a little too much on this one. So able to sneak it in for a behind. Port Adelaide out by 38 points, 14-7-91. Gold Coast 8-5, 53. Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard.
Finally, they got some on-ball time into Took Miller now as well. His first game back tonight, majority of his time up forward. He's been going into a couple of centre bounces in this final term.
Be a fumble there from Lukosius. Williams for Port Adelaide comes through, got it to Dixon at the top of the 50. Marshall came peeling out. Oh, have a look at that from McEntee. It was a little look away, didn't come off. Atkins for the Suns to Holman, measures it well. Lukosius bobbled his hands there, but held it this time. Goes long. He's got out the back an opportunity here, Ainsworth, but Aaliyah. Oh, how good is he at that stuff? It was peeling back, fisted out of play as we take it to Theodoropoulos for Bob James T-Marts.
All happening down here. Yoda, Todd Marshall on hands and knees after that last contest. Still looks a little ginger, but he is okay. Aaliyah's good to go, if you just spotted. And Dan Houston's taking the left boot off. Some concern about that ankle. He looked grimacing with the trainers now, just sitting it out, but looks in a bit of pain.
Theodoropoulos, thanks to Bob James T-Marts. Took Miller comes through, goes top of the square, down is Ainsworth, front and centre, kick around the corner on the left. He's able to get one for the Gold Coast, and you can tell because the crowd's got absolutely nothing to say as they get within 32 points. Gold Coast 9-5, 59 Port, 14-7-91. Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard.
Just to get to that deeper entry, Paul Burgoyne spoken about that earlier on tonight as well. Get it deeper and doesn't allow the setup. It's a good spot to hit. Jones still had good vision of the ball trying to spoil it, but front and centre Crum, beautiful spot to sit.
Really good goal, wasn't it, on his opposite foot. If you go as a defender, you've got to kill the ball. Bergman goes off him, doesn't kill the ball. His player stays down front and centre. Good goal.
Penny Ainsworth a couple of weeks ago had a season high 27 disposals. I think that was 3 weeks ago. Tonight with his first goal of the game, 16 disposals, and still has a bit more to offer. Very good player.
The McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, Triple M Rocks footy. And the Suns get a couple of goals early in this final term. on the Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard. Free kick out of this contest going to Port Adelaide, though, to Butters. He's asked to get on with business. Comes toward this side of the ground, looking for Williams. It was a beautifully weighted kick. Williams through centre wing. Sends a long penetrating ball inside 50. Marshall. Well, he was able to just float around and not get any body contact, really. He just found a beautiful position and clunked the mark.
Yeah, Will Powell lost him, I think, in flight. Really didn't know where the ball was, Will Powell. He'd want that one back.
Williams does the right thing. Instead of kicking the ball, he runs his 15 metres and he gets the ball a longer entry inside 50. So the Gold Coast Forwards are in front. They can't spoil it because of Williams.
Sean Burgoyne there. Seabar Super. Along with Brett Biglands tonight. Marshall, Cathedral End. Oh boy, he hit that real fat. And he's gone short and wide. It's in play, and Witts takes a relieving mark here for the Suns.
His kick was cut off, so Port Adelaide with an opportunity in front of the old scoreboard here with a throw-in. And the big co-captain, Witts, will be disappointed with that effort. So Port with a chance after the Gold Coast to kick the only 2 goals of this term. Big hit forward came from Dixon. Narkle can't take it. Weller to Miller, and then Powell. Long kick out to the outer wing. Sammy Hayes gives it off to Williams. He just gets down and shrugs off Flanders. Back to Hayes. Bergman able to get back with a kick, and his vision is pretty good. Ellis going up against Drew, and it'll go out of bounds, half forward line for Port.
It was one of the matchups, thanks to fielders, that we highlighted in the pre-game. We thought Witts would have a big game against Hayes today. It hasn't eventuated. Witts is a star of the competition as far as ruckman goes, but tonight he's been down on his output, just 7 disposals. Sammy Hayes has actually had more than him with 9.
Brett Biglands there. If there's a man who knows about the ruck craft, it's him. For McDonald's and Ream Hot Water, Triple M Rocks footy. Horn Francis steaming out of the contest, lines it up, gets a goal. That was scintillating. Gee, hit that with power. And Port Adelaide are out by 38. 97-59. Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard. Beacon Trade's here to partner with your business by designing your lighting and electrical plans for free. Beacon Trade. Let's make light work. Sean Burgoyne, Red Biglands, Triple M footy.
Well, his power was on display there, wasn't it? He goes from inside the contest to outside the contest with pure speed and power. Shrugs off a tackle and kicks a goal on the run. Amazing goal.
Well, how good is this kid going to be, really? When all's said and done, has everything, doesn't he? Full footy head with his explosive power and ball-winning ability. Just cruised out of there.
Great ruck work from Sam Hayes to get the ball to Horn Francis, who sneaks in his first goal of the night. Dixon back in the centre. Comes out to Narkle via Butters. Port go forward again. Rioli in a good position. Just goes with a little fist. Drew's wrapped up in a tackle, and we'll have the ball reset the Drew centre half forward position.
I reckon Horn Francis has levels of swagger, of toe kicking swagger. When he kicks a remarkable go, the toes really come out with that bottom swagger, but if it's just a normal play, it's not as much.
That's what you get on Triple M footy. All the little things. Free kick going the way of the Suns. Weller, he was on the ground there, got the free kick. Sideways ball, McPherson. Here's Collins. Across half-back. 38 points, Port's lead. And, not a great ball by Collins. Narkle able to whack it out of play. And it's right in front of Theo Doropoulos. He's on the boundary for us tonight for Bob Jane Teamarts. Round the grounds for RAA. It's Stumps, lunchtime in the Ashes. No play yet, so we'll get into that. Thunderbirds, premiers, taking the netball grand final tonight. Dixon out of the contest. Oh, gee. Rosie juggled it with his head, fell back into his arms, turns and goes, kicks a point. Whacked straight into the padding. That was extraordinary stuff by Connor. So Port Adelaide 15-8-98. The Suns are 9-5-59, a 39-point lead. Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard.
Gee whiz, a massive wave of inside forward 50s. Triple M Red Z lending stats, the last 15 in favour of the Power.
Port Adelaide averaging 95 points a game. They've already hit that 98 mark taken by Casbolt. Turns it around quickly. Long kick comes over the top. Oh, the target was... That was Jai Farrow who'd come on, and the long kick had come from Humphrey. Just couldn't get his reach to it, and it's going to go out of bounds, so ball will be thrown in forward pocket for the Suns.
So throw in. City end goal. Port by 39 points. We're at the scoring end for the Suns. Alia, he's been enormous tonight. Gee, Flanders got a quick snap at things, and he missed away to the right. A minor score, so it's a 38-point lead to Port Adelaide, and they'll bring the footy back in. Ream Hot Water, built tough for Aussie conditions. When it comes to water heating, ask your plumber to install a Ream.
Dan Houston back on the ground. He's got the boot on, so that looks like he's moving okay with that trusty left foot of his that delivered a ripping goal tonight, and obviously that magnificent goal last week as the ball's tapped down to Atkins. Powell couldn't get it. Hot ball right now. Quick kick comes from McEntee. Oh, little clip over the top was terrific from Rioli. Butters sends it out and releases Powell Pepper. He lowers the eyes, drops the ball in nicely, and it comes through. Port Adelaide are on fire. Finlayson gets it from Burne-Jones. He runs through and kicks his third in game number 100, and Port are out by 44 points on the Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard. They are on fire, and win number 13 is coming their way.
It might go unnoticed, but this goal's set up by Jed McEntee on the half-back flank. Gets the ball, he realises there's a forwards that are in front, so he surges the ball forward instead of trying to make it up with handball. Took a special tap on by Rioli, and then they get the overlap from there. But the initial surge in these conditions to get it over those first lines is what creates the overlap.
It's a great point, Junior Berger, and the fact that some players want to go by a hand straight away and they'll automatically turn defensively to release that handball.
Yep.
Just having the sense that there were players on in front, just get boot to ball. That's what he did.
Seabar Super, great insights there with Sean Burgoyne and Rhett Biglands tonight on Triple M Footy. We're back in the middle. Porter out by 44 points for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M Rocks Footy. Free kick, advantage Suns. So little run and gun by Miller. He goes with a long ball inside 50. Now big fly Farah. Couldn't drag it down. Burton wrapped up by Holman. And umpire runs in.
Jai Farah's got some hops to him, hasn't he? Got up and at the footy there.
Whitson-Dixon comes down to Swallow. Couldn't get his kick. He had pressure from Jones. Horn Francis gets a little hand in. High ball from Fiorini. Sitting under it was Casbolt and Allaire. And Allaire just gets a little reach around the front and taps it out of bounds.
I've got the feeling that Fiorini one day is going to have a breakout game with his ability. Just needs a bit more time with ball in hand to finish off his good work.
Now he's been busy, no doubt about it, on the Red Z Lending stats. Red Z Lending loans for the self-employed, REDZED.com, as Port Adelaide stand tough through Williams in this contest. He clears it out of there. Now, just back behind play, Dixon was down for a bit there. He's up and going now. Witts, handball came from Flanders, goes to Swallow, snaps around the body, and he's missed. So they're peppering away the Suns, but it's still a big lead for Port Adelaide. 16,804 the power. They're up by 44. 43 now. The Suns are 61. Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard.
David Swallow as well, the most experienced Gold Coast Sun out there today. I think, was he one of the concession picks? I can't keep up with the Gold Coast Suns. They've been handed more concessions than a conductor on a train.
He was number one pick, wasn't he?
He was number one.
Kick around the corner comes from Fiorini. Back into their attacking half of the ground for Gold Coast. Oh, Holman. He's hit by two. Narkle and Houston. Port Adelaide get the turnover. Burton runs it out of bounds. They're still relentless, Port, going hard at him.
Shows you how strong Holman is. He got blindsided by Narkle while fending one off and was still able to hold his feet and get the hands off.
Have a look at that on the Harvey Norman replay. Extraordinary stuff. Hot deals on technology now at Harvey Norman. Say hello to big savings on mobiles and audio. Hurry. It's a limited time only, so get yourself in there and get some bargains. Free kick off the contest. Houston held without the ball. He's going to get it across half-back. He kicked a bomb earlier on tonight from long range. Goes backward and sideways a little bit to Jones.
Love the Bronxies from the Port supporters. The free kick count 19-13 in favour of the Gold Coast. But you'd think it'd be 100-5 the way the Port supporters were cheering for that one to Houston.
Wines at half-back. Long ball. Plenty of wrestling going on there, and the mark couldn't be taken cleanly. Drew tries to go off the deck. Quick kick from Rao, and he could be pinged here for deliberate. The umpire, no, let it go. So it's dribbled out over half-back, out of side for the Suns.
Here, guys. Over here.
So the big news, of course, there, Dropper's told us, with Trent McKenzie subbed out with that ankle injury on crutches, may open the door for Tom Jonas to return to the side. McKenzie had a lot of ankle issues prior to getting on this good run. He had surgery a few years ago when he came across from the Gold Coast, so fingers crossed it's only minor.
Ball at half forward. Quick kick came out only as far for Port Adelaide to go forward. It was a kick from Swallow. It didn't go well. And now McEntee has it at half forward. Came to him via Rosie, and he goes into the pocket. It's a nice lead up from Finlayson, who is having a ripping night. And he's going to get another chance to go around the corner here because he's in front of the old scoreboard and he's already kicked 3.
We had a couple options there from McEntee. Marshall done his opponent over and went let up, but Ollie Wines got into his space, and then which created space over the back for Finlayson.
Certainly haven't been afraid to go wide, Port Adelaide, today, have they?
Not tonight.
They've honoured everyone.
Taking 6 marks, kick 3-3, goes around the corner and again just a little skinny. So 3-4 for Finlayson and Port Adelaide. 44 points. They've cracked the ton, 16-9-105. Gold Coast 9-7-61. That is on your Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard.
Down the line go the Suns. So it's going to fall okay for them. A bit of run and bounce by Farah. Pokes it inside 50, but it's out on the full. So Jones is going to get the free for Port Adelaide. They lead it by 44, the Power. He's had a game out, Finlayson, hasn't he? 7 shots at goal.
The leading goal kicker this year for Port Adelaide, with Toddy Marshall sitting behind him. So it's an impressive year.
In the votes tonight?
You're doing them.
Sean Burgoyne and Red Bigland's there. Handball, Port Adelaide. That was Houston finding Rosie in a little bit of space. The kick just not as weighted as he may have liked, and Collins did well. He was able to chip across, take a pretty comfortable mark against a couple of smaller opponents, Butters and Burn Jones. He goes backward to Ballard. Sideways on the pickup is Anderson, and he goes short to McPherson.
Connor Rosie may be in contention again for Brownlow votes with his 25 disposals and 2 goals. A consistent year for the star.
Real goal of the year contender from Rosie too, and a tackle from Drew is perfect. The 2 redheads go at it, and he was able to bring down Rao. The crowd loved it. So Willem Drew has got it on the outer side. Time on into this final term. Port Adelaide 9 goals to 1 in the third quarter, just turned things around after trailing by a goal at half-time. Now they lead by 44 points as Butters just drills a nice little kick to his buddy Rosie. He's at half forward and he just stands and waits for something. Oh, Farrell. They paid the mark. The umpire a little premature with his evaluation there. So Farrell in the centre square goes with a left foot to the top of the square. They had all the big boys there. A little kick comes dribbling through and it's hit the post. It was Burn Jones, and he's been pretty handy tonight. Port by 45 points. Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard.
He could have easily kicked 3, Darcy Burn Jones. It was 16 disposals, 6 of those contested. Worked really hard though, Triple M Red Z lending stats.
2 posters.
A lot of post action tonight.
Sideways Anderson for the Suns. Finds Powell. Gives it to Atkins, who initially brought the footy in for this little move forward. Got it to Rowell, who finds Miller. Just on the edge of the centre square. Gee, it's a 1-on-4. That was pinpoint stuff. Anderson had 4 power players around him, but he was found with the ball. They lead by 45 points, the Power. They were down at half-time by a goal. So the Suns are just chipping it between themselves at the moment. Here's Atkins. He's on the logo, and they are really clogged up down the park. So he tries to pull a bit of space by going short. He got it back on the run by, goes long, mark, Casbolt. So, look, he's tried hard for his team tonight. What are his numbers on the Red Z lending stats, boys? Levi Casbolt tonight.
I feel as though he's had more of it, don't you, Silky? This would come out to disposal number 8.
How many shots on goal?
It's been the 6 marks that's made it seem bigger, because those 6 marks were all in the first and second quarter.
Yep. If he kicks this, will be his 3rd. He has had a big impact on this game, though, from a Suns' point of view. Been in their better players.
So City in goal. He kicked a couple in the opening term. Comes in. Kick on the way is good. Gave himself a little clap. And the margin back to 39 points. So 10-7-67 Suns. 16-10, 106 Port. On the Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard. You got Sean Berg on tonight, along with Red Biglands for Seabus Super.
I think those marks, Biggles, because majority of them were contested and against mainly Aaliyah. So when the game was on the line, he stood up in the first half for the Suns. Obviously been a lot harder in the second half, but definitely in the top handful of players tonight.
We knew how important he would be to try and bring that ball to ground and just give his little smaller forwards an opportunity to get at it. And that's why we've just felt that he's had more of an impact on this game.
McDonald, I think he needed King and Lukosius to help him tonight.
It's 5 contested marks, you're right, Silk. That's a big night.
Port Adelaide.
Free kick's going to go to Sam Hayes against Witts for just getting the feet in the way in the ruck contest. So Hayes has come back in. His first run since round 11 last year has been pretty good. Did well in the absence of Lysett as a little tap comes from Rioli towards Rosie. And he just goes with a little chip to Burn Jones. Nice mark. He did well in front of Atkins. So he will have a shot, Darcy Burn Jones, from around about 25 out. He is right on the boundary line in front of the scoreboard.
As I mentioned before, Biggles, they're happy to target the pocket, aren't they? They've marked them there, so a fair bit tonight.
They've not been hesitant to go there whatsoever. If a player is right up against the boundary line, Port have been honouring it all night.
1-2 has been his return for the night. The kick, well, just hits the centre of the ball and puts it to the top of the square. Kick off the deck from Ballard. Little give over the top from Swallow. Oya. And his kick only as far as Jones. Good to see him back, Lockie Jones, after missing 3 weeks with a broken jaw. Just double fists the ball out of bounds, and the umpire will throw it in just adjacent to the interchange gates.
Bert Jones went the check side there, Soda, from 45 out. Would you have done that in your heyday?
Mate, I would have been lucky to even get near the footy.
Throw in.
Especially with those tight shorts he used to wear.
Little handball. Here's Boak for Port Adelaide. Around the body. Up to half forward. Atkins got it from Anderson for the Suns. Oh, a little spillage happening back here. And it's going to turn out okay. Weller measured the ball well. Here's Swallow. True centre wing. So they've tried hard, the Gold Coast, but they've been outclassed tonight. There was the Casbolt-Aaliyah contest again. And Holman just sort of overran the ball. Burton was in there. Farah got it across. Lukosius tried to don't argue, but Williams wouldn't hear of it. Inside 50, Oya just didn't get the connection. Diving there was Ainsworth, and Port Adelaide through Bergman.
Well up with a punch in front of Wines. Let's head down now to Theodoropoulos for Bob Jane, Team Arts.
So do Port Adelaide have one interchange left to make. You'd think Horn Francis might be done for the night. He's taken a bit of backstrapping off. He's just resting along with Todd Marshall. So you think with a couple of minutes to go, comfortable lead, a few big cues are in the rack for the Power.
It's been another big night from win number 13 coming their way as a kick from Flanders was looking for Lukosius, couldn't take it, out of bounds.
Just on the tight shorts, Soda, I think they should come back into vogue because we've seen the baggy shorts from Wangers and from Rao. When are the tight ones coming back in, boys?
Kappas.
Absolutely. Right up the crack.
Got to present yourself nicely with them. Why not?
Socks up too with the tight shorts.
Top notch.
Show it off.
Here's a footy for Collins. Back to the late 80s, early 90s as Collins goes down the line. Bit of a contest here. Rao front and centre. Chiseling ball, good. And Casbolt on the lead up. So mark number 7 for him on the Red Z lending stat.
Hicks truly be his 4th, which would be a really good night, and you consider the quality of his opponent.
I don't know why they haven't used that shorter kick to that 40 to 50 metre range more often. I think a lot of it has to do with Port Adelaide's pressure after half time, which hasn't allowed them to do it.
So Casbolt looking for 2 in quick succession, and he gets it. So he's got 4 for the night. As Silk says, not a bad night at the office, and when you consider he's on a Lear, he's probably got a tick next to the name. So Port by 33 points on the Triple M Beacon Trade scoreboard.
You are right, Biggles. The closer they can get it to the 50 line, that means they can reach the back of the pack or they get on a lead up. So then, which then plays mind games with the defender. They don't know whether to go assertive positioning in front or go behind. If you kick it from too far back, it's pretty easy. You stand in front and you got the control the dangerous space and you come at the ball.
Bit of class as well there from Rao, wasn't it? On his opposite side, a lot of players coming full tilt out of stoppage, just bang it on. What are you talking about? Get it to the top of the goal square. Lear sucks back. Jones kills it. Onto the lead. Great little spot up.
It's one of the rare times, though, that you've seen a Lear be beaten so comprehensively when he's on him, like for that period of time. So it might be interesting for other teams to follow that.
Witts gets a tap down. Swallow couldn't take it cleanly. He's got another chance at it. Just hurries a kick, and a couple of Port Adelaide players run at each other. It was Boak and also Williams. Neither could take the mark. Goes back to Aaliyah and Casbolt one-on-one, and this time Aaliyah outbodies him and then delivers the ball to Rosie. He in turn gives it to Butters, still inside the defensive 50 as they just chip it around a little bit, Port Adelaide. 30 minutes gone. The lead is 33 points after a couple of Casbolt goals. But all the damage was done in that third term. Port Adelaide 9 goals to 1 after trailing by 6 points at half-time. Hayes almost took a good mark. Yep, I said didn't quite hold on to it long enough. Drew tries to have a little go off the deck, winds to Narkle. He gets himself away around. Witts does it nicely. Big Charlie, game number 200, puts out the right mitt, takes it one-handed. Williams, centre of the ground, goes out to his left foot. Oya come in and quickly cut off Farrell, and then Oya goes hard at him. Farrell's going to have a chance to pick it up. Jones does the shepherding. Farrell in trouble. Little undergrounder to Jones. He goes high. Narkle sits down and waits as the ball is thumped towards the line by the Suns. It'll be out of bounds.
It was impressive, I think, about 2 minutes ago when Travis Boak went back with a fly at full bore for the oldest man on the park to have eyes on him for the footy and not have any regard for his own safety or injury, knowing what's on the line of this season, isn't it?
Good standard to set, isn't it?
33 points, the lead for Port Adelaide. Tap down. Around the body, Williams. Big fist. Bouncing footy. Goes out of play. And we'll have it thrown in at the Cathedral end here in a big night for Port Adelaide.
Because a lot of leaders who know this is their last tilt at a flag could be going easy at some points. I don't want to get injured for next week. He is just going full bore and everything. It's impressive from the start.
Port Adelaide will take on the Blues at Marvel next week. A hurried kick comes from McPherson under pressure. And there's the siren. Port Adelaide make it 13 on the trot in a massive night. Charlie Dixon's 200th. Jeremy Finlayson's 100th. He was able to kick 3 goals. It was a massive win. A big third term. They're home by 33 points to Power.
Power to roll.
Big win, Port Adelaide. Let's head down to Ben Dixon with Charlie Dixon.
Take us in the third quarter that blew it open for you.
Yeah, I think we got a bit of a crook at half time about trying to over-possess the ball, and we know when we attack the deep and then put forward us pressure on, that's the way we play. So we go through the crook about that, and we were able to just stick to the basics and get the ball in there, lock it in there and score. So it's great.
The forward line set up with Jeremy, I'll chat to him in a moment, but I call him the cannonball, Sam Powell. The pressure is elite there, isn't it? It makes it for easy, obviously, shots on goal and that forward half game. Yeah, and it simplifies our job as well, as tools. We just got to bring the ball to ground if we don't mark it, so... And we got outmarked a lot tonight, so we need those little blokes there, and so we just bring the ball around. Wayne Russell calls it catching a dove in flight, your one-handers, but it's no fluke. You saw it before the game. They throw you the ball and you actually catch it with one hand with the trainer. They're like fishing nets, aren't they, these big hands? Is that something that you work on, obviously, pretty hard? Yeah, with Chad Collins, big strong, we sort of just have a bit of a routine and get a bit of a touch before game, and, 1 minute's always good, I suppose. 200 games, incredible. Some players say it flies. Has it flown or has it been a bit of a grind? Definitely a grind, mate. I think I should have been here a little while ago, but no, I'm just very privileged to be able to play at these two great clubs, and for both of them giving me a shot at playing footy, and I'm sort of glad this game's over now, so we can just move on. Well, mate, you've been huge. You've got plenty more left in you. Well done on 200 games and 13 in a row. Cheers. Thanks, mate.
Charlie Dixon with Ben Dixon. Thanks to our friends there at Fox Footy. And we'll head back down for the 100-gamer, Jeremy Finlayson, who really played out of his skin tonight. A terrific game by him. 3 goals, 4. And he had 14 possessions on the Triple M Red Z lending stats. Port Adelaide home by 33 points. A big win in the end over the Gold Coast Suns after being very strongly challenged up until half-time. They were down by 6 points at that stage, but really opened up in the third quarter. Interesting to hear Charlie Dixon speak about over-possessing the ball is something they really focused on at half-time, has paid dividends in the best possible way. Let's head down to Jeremy Finlayson with Ben Dixon, thanks to our friends at Fox Footy.
In the front half, you got a great role yourself, but talk us through tonight, getting that one done 13 in a row.
It was a special night for me and Charlie, and they really threw it at us that first half. They're going to be a quality side, Gold Coast. We didn't take them lightly, that's for sure, but to get it tonight in front of my family, in front of Charlie's family, and I told him before the game this is for him. 200 is a great milestone, and just to play alongside him makes you walk taller, and it's just a privilege that I can look back on him after footy and be able to say I shared it with him.
Yeah, well, he's pretty proud of you. I spoke to him briefly, but to share this night on him, he's a bit dirty on you because he could only get 18 tickets. How many did you get?
No, I got 30, but I think he got all the change room passes, but I'm going straight out after this and see the family, so I said it's all his night. I'm super proud to be playing with him. Like I said, 200 is a lot more than 100, but just super grateful for the Giants and Port Adelaide to give me this opportunity.
And I saw Kenny before the game, gave you a little cuddle. He's a big cuddler, Kenny, and even when you come off from the boundary line and you're pretty pumped up, what does he give you when he comes off?
No, he's just, I think he made the move down there, I think it was 13 weeks ago, to be honest. He just shows how much he loves us boys when he comes off, and the positivity down there. And when we go back on, we just go there with full belief and confidence, and just to see him up and about, and he's so positive, and he's a real good figure around the club.
You had an outstanding night. Go share with Charlie and your family. It's a huge milestone, but you're having a massive year, so well done.
No, I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks there to Ben Dixon, catching up with Jeremy Finlayson and also Charlie Dixon. They were the show of the night, no doubt about that, in their milestone games. It's our Triple M Amy review. Submit your fan clanger story to amy.com.au/fansurance and you could win. It was Port Adelaide home by 33 points. We'll be down into the Port change rooms, hear the winning song. We'll grab an interview as well, but it's time, boys, right now for our Macca's I'm Loving It moment. Tonight's moment happened at the 20-minute mark of the third quarter, and here's how we called it on Triple M Footy.
Powell Pepper has it from 60. Just goes with a long ball. Oh, wow! That is an absolute ball Buster. Brilliant kick from Sam Powell-Pepper. Huge momentum swing for the Power.
He's kicked the barrel. It's on the run barrel. You don't see that often, do you, Biggles? On the run barrels.
Take us through that one, Silk. That was extraordinary, wasn't it?
Well, I think he surprised himself as well. He's running around kicking a barrel forward and hit it as he kicked it and it went through. And
Rosie's Goal of the Year nomination. Who's picking this one, Soda? We might have to put inquiry into this.
I've got to say, Rosie's goal was absolutely remarkable from the boundary line, just able to dribble it through. He almost defied physics. There was no space, and he just dribbled it through. So both of them, cracking goals.
I'll pop into Macca's at 3 a.m. tonight and find out why they chose that one.
You'll be down there at Hindley Street, no doubt.
While you're there, you can fill up at full time with a Macca's Angus range, Biggles.
Yep.
I know you will. You'll get stuck into it.
Absolutely. Wash it down with 20 nuggets too.
Just had Charlie Dixon being chaired off by Aaliyah and Hayes, and just an embrace there with Ken Hinkley as they head down into the change rooms. Port Adelaide home by 33 points. We might get the votes before we take you down to the rooms. Triple MVP award for New Holland. End of financial year. 0.95% tractor finance now available. Visit your new local New Holland dealership. Silk Burgoyne, the votes for tonight.
Yeah, I've got the job tonight. So honourable mentions of Burn Jones, Wines and Aaliyah. They were all very good contributors tonight. But I went one vote, Dan Houston, 22 disposals, 3 inside 50s, 1 goal. And 22 disposal, 82% efficiency is devastating off the half-back flank. That goal from 55, 60 metres out. When 2 votes, Jeremy Finlayson, he had the 14 disposals, 6 marks, 3 goals, 4. So it could have been a really, really big night if he kicked straight. That could have been 3 votes for him. But I went 3 votes, Connor Rose. He had the 28 disposals, 11 contested, 7 inside 50s and 2 goals, 1. And the only question is on Brownlow night is him and Zach Butter stealing Brownlow votes off each other. So I thought he was clearly best on ground. Got him off to a flyer.
Oh, terrific stuff. The Triple MVP award for New Holland. End of financial year. 0.95% tractor finance now available. Visit your local New Holland dealership.
The power to roll, come on, Port Adelaide edition. We are the power from Port. It's more than a spot, it's the truth. Port Adelaide edition. We never stop, to the top. Z Street on the ground. We never get in, till the flags are out, still take.
Big win by Port Adelaide, 13 in a row by 33 points over the Sun. Submit your fan clanger story to amy.com.au /fan insurance and you could win. We'll take you down for an interview shortly, boys, but can you take me down to the rooms right now after a game like that, after a run like they've had, and after being challenged and responding? What happens down there right now? What would Ken be saying when he gets them behind closed doors?
I think it's just about finding the next challenge. They've got an Everest to climb. I'm not sure what the theme they're going with, but they need to just take it step by step up the mountain. And I think every time he talks about the sacrifices they can make that will pay dividends in finals, because we know surely Dicko and his entourage today will be having a couple, but you just want to try and keep it on the level, wouldn't you?
Yeah, well, you enjoy the win. You enjoy every single win. You know, the reality of football is you wake up tomorrow and you move on and get ready for the next week. So enjoy the win, embrace the challenge that it was this, tonight. Highlight the areas where you went really well and some of the areas, the first half where you want to try and improve. But enjoy the win and then you move on.
So they sit equal top with the Pies, of course. That percentage differential is huge for Collingwood. They take on the Blues, Port Adelaide at Marvel next week, as you said, Soda. Then the big one.
Yep.
Pies here at Adelaide Oval. Is that just going to be a game of the year? And then the showdown after that, the Cats in Geelong. What a month it is for Port Adelaide.
Yeah, that's a big one to end with Geelong and Geelong. It's a big finals run as well. So you don't want to limp into finals after a hard run. So some big games there.
For the Sun supporters, they take on the Saints on the Goldie, GWS in the nation's capital, and then the Q Clash on the Goldie as well.
What's going on with the Kenny Hinkley contract situation, boys? Obviously 13 in a row. Can you continue to resist signing? I know they said they're going to wait till August, didn't they? So is that still another, couple of weeks we've got to sit back and watch?
Yeah, well, apparently that's what they've said the whole year, is they're going to wait until August.
So surely it's got to be in front of him now.
Yeah, well, you would think so. You can't do much more than what he's doing right now.
Would he take a 1 year?
I don't know. If he keeps winning between now and then, and you get to August, and they start these conversations, it's going to be pretty hard to try and move a bloke on who has been just in this sort of situation.
It's got to be a one. If he would take a 1 year, I mean, he's worth more.
He's not going to take a 1 year.
He's not going to take a 1 year.
Well, why would he? Why would he? I mean,
if you win a flag, which they have the potential to do, how long does that buy you as a contract?
The real query around all this is how unsettling it becomes when they're really moving into September, Silk, because I would imagine you want as least sort of fumes in the air around your footy club heading into that stage of the year, particularly with the historical record Port Adelaide have had over the last few years when it comes at the time where it counts.
Well, ideally, you want a stable environment heading into finals. And, from your president, your CEO, to your head coach, to your captain, you want that to be as stable as possible, and you don't want much off-field noise.
It's going to be a fascinating month or so, isn't it?
Yeah.
Particularly, in the form that they're in now. I think everyone will be just sitting back going, righto, Koshy, what are you going to do? How is this going to play out? Because the way Port are going, genuine contenders, and that game in a fortnight's time against Collingwood could be an absolute ripper.
It'll be interesting, with the one-year deal, Biggles, what you mentioned, but obviously Richmond are looking for a coach, and who knows who else is going to be looking for a coach at the end of the year, so it'll be an interesting one.
Speaking of coaches, what about a few words on the Suns tonight? They seem to galvanise at least for a half of footy to try and help their coach, who's been a little bit under siege publicly this week, but they were really opened up by a classy outfit who turned it on in the second half.
Well, they brought the fight from the start to half-time. You can't, question their endeavour up to half-time. Then they just fell asleep in change rooms, and then they didn't come out after half-time. I think it was left to too few.
Yeah, they've got so much talent there. It comes down to effort, and I don't think that's Dewey's wheelhouse. I don't think it's his responsibility to provide the effort. His responsibility is to get them up each week, and They started like that. They wanted to respond, but then when that effort fell away, that's when they were getting smacked.
Well, there's probably some junk possessions out there as well for Gold Coast, because they ended up having 11 more disposals. So they had more disposals, but they were wasteful. But the effort has to be there when the opposition get the ball from start to finish.
Do you think they're a better team than where they are at the moment, the Gold Coast, or do you think they're getting the most out of themselves?
No, definitely a better team. No, without question. And I mean, they finished above Adelaide the last 2 seasons. They should be around that mark again this year. They are a better team than where they
They should be pushing for finals. They've got a number of quality players. They've got a number of players who are experienced now in that team with some sprinkle of youth coming through. You would be expecting them to push for finals.
Hey, just on the milestone situation, what is the protocol with the other side lining up? Do you line up for 200 games? Silky, you've had more milestones than anyone in this whole stadium. How does it work? They don't, because they looked around. Dewey and Witts said, do we go over there for Dicko and do a guard of honour? No?
I reckon because he's a former player, I reckon they respect that.
Right.
All right, we're going to take you down to the rooms right now. Theo Doropoulos in the Port Adelaide rooms. They are home by 33 points.
Thanks, Yoda. Well, joined by the man of the moment, Charlie Dixon. Congratulations on 200 games, mate. Fantastic effort personally. What does this mean to you? Some wonderful scenes after the Siren 2 and your family and friends here. Just talk us through it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty special, really. I mean, it gives you a chance to sort of reflect on your football career and life, really, because it has been my life for so long. So, it's amazing to have the support of my family and friends that have sort of made the trip to come down. And, it's amazing. The fans have been great. Lots of messages and, it's sort of hard to sort of pick up my phone and saw my head everywhere, really. So I'm glad it's over now and we can just sort of get back to worrying about playing footy, I think.
When the boys came down the race, obviously a lot of family and friends here. Everyone made an effort to high-five and say thanks to nearly every single person here. It feels like a real family atmosphere. On the other side of that, you've got Jeremy Finlayson playing game 102. Just talk us through what that means to you to share this milestone with a great mate and someone that's so important to the club as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's great to have him there. That he's been on a pretty crazy journey himself, so it's a real credit to him, and I'm super proud of him and pumped to have him on my side. To be honest, him and his family are amazing people, and I'm just pumped to be able to share that with him. So it's great.
Hey, Dicko, Sean, mate, just talk us through congratulations on the win firstly, but talk us through your battle with Sam Collins. It looked like a really heated battle there at times.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's a very good defender, and it was hard to sort of gauge where he was at because he started off me a fair way, and I don't really have any leg speed, so I've got to try and work out where they are so I can get my hands on them. But it was a tough one. But I love that sort of stuff. It's that's my game, to compete in contest, and wasn't getting really near it at all. So I was pumped to be able to go on the ruck and try to get my hands around the footy.
Dicko, Rhett Biglands, congratulations on tonight's victory and the 200. Can you give us a bit of an insight? I'm hearing this corporate box you organised for a few past players. A few of the names in there and the characters that are up and about.
So a big Bocco in there, and
the big emu,
and one of my best mates, Toddy Grayson, who I played TAC Cup and VFL with him, and and then heaps of friends and heaps of family. So I had I think 24 people in 2 boxes I had to get. So but the clubs looked after me there a little bit, but I said no food, but they can have a few drinks on me. So so they're pretty pumped, I think.
Tax deductible, that one. Keep the receipts.
Exactly, that's it. You know better than anyone, Sean.
Big Charlie, congratulations. Mark Soderstrom up here, mate. The big 200. What do you do tomorrow now? Do you get into a set of wheels and just pin the ears back and go for a drive? And what will you be in, do you reckon, tomorrow?
Absolutely not. I think Dad's got a minivan. I'll be sitting in the back somewhere and we'll go have lunch somewhere and have a couple of quiet cold beers, I reckon. So that'll be me for the day. I don't think I'll be moving around too much, mate.
Does it take your mind back? I know you copped the penalty when you're on the Gold Coast, didn't you, for having a couple of red wines when you weren't supposed to? Do you think back to those days and think how much of a rabbit you were and where you've got to now?
Yeah, as a young kid trying to find your way on the Gold Coast, mate, it's tough, you make the wrong decisions every now and then, and that's what I did. So, but no, that's what's so great about this week is, the people in my life that have helped me get to where I am, and there's a lot of people that have helped me, and I wouldn't be where I am today without the people on the Gold Coast and obviously the people in Port. And I'm forever grateful for the opportunity to play footy at 2 great clubs. And, mate, it's been a journey and still got a bit left in me, I think.
Well, Charlie, you're a star, mate. Really appreciate you giving us so much of your time on a big night for you. Well done.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.
There he is, Charlie Dixon, joining us on Triple M Footy. A couple of super boxes out there, Biggles.
Yeah,
no food, but you could have a few.
Must have some money because it's expensive for them boxes.
Absolutely. They're off the charts what they charge here. But remember when he got rubbed out, he had a couple of red wines before a game with one of his teammates when he was playing up for the Suns?
You did jog my memory. Yes, I do remember that.
Pre-game, and they got the mini-tab bill the tab in his hotel room, and he just sampled a couple of Grangers, not before the game. He went top shelf.
He made a fair point, though. A youngster starting out on the Gold Coast. It's not easy to negotiate your way through any trouble up there.
Hate it.
Well, there you go, boys. We're done. So Port Adelaide, they get home 13 in a row just around the grounds for RAA. Ensure with the local team who supports you and your Adelaide Crows. Melbourne home by 21 over the Saints earlier tonight. And it was the Giants over the Hawks and Brisbane by 81 over the Eagles here at the Adelaide Oval. Port Adelaide by 33 for McDonald's and Ream Hot Water. Triple M rocks footy.
That